Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get ourselves situated here just a bit. And I gotta make some adjustments to this new monitor, but I'll get that worked out when I get it worked out. Anywho, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the newsroom, and welcome to the Goutopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company. Here we go. So, I did speak on this a little bit in a I'll name the segment later, but I actually haven't had a chance to actually go over the video in question. We're going to speak a little bit about when LOLCOW Live decided to speak on DSP's week off. Now, we all know this is another one of those great mysteries of Goutopia that we haven't necessarily figured out yet. There's been some interesting theories. I feel like one of those theories are correct. DSP won't admit it until he's forced to, but I think it's a crucial point to talk about. So in any case, we'll go ahead and speak on this a little bit, and we'll see what we have here. So let's go ahead and move over to my favorite segment. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I mean, I like that backdrop too. But anyway, let's move over to my favorite segment. Hopefully, your favorite segment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my TED Talk. Okay, so DSP's week off from streaming unexpectedly is still a topic of conjecture. We still haven't really figured out. Well, he hasn't confirmed anything. He's actually kept it rather close to the chest, which means it's rather important, means it could rather hurt him if it's exposed. But some interesting theories, a lot of really great speculation. There wasn't really anybody spazzing out over it, him being gone or whatever. If anything, I think it was the type of it was a reprieve that I think a lot of us needed, to be honest with you. And there was a lot of great speculation. There was a lot of conversation. I think there was probably more conversation amongst people in the vortex than there probably has been in a very long time. So there is that. And clearly DSP was watching it and didn't like it. He thought there was going to be absolute discourse. Everybody was going to be going crazy, and that just didn't happen. Anywho, Keemstar and LOLCOW Live get brought into this because, and I may have been one of the people who propagated this, that if DSP really did have a problem with the channel, for example, based upon that theory, I mean, why not just go to Keemstar and get that shit like cleared up? Now, I have to say this, and yet again, I may be one of the people who's at fault for this. Keem is not omnipotent. He's not the end all be all of YouTube. He can put some recommendations in. He knows a lot of people there. He can get some things moving in your direction. Everything's kind of like a case-by-case type thing, right? He can't just snap his fingers and, make shit happen. In some cases, he can expedite shit for you, but in other cases, you kind of just have to wait. For example, where I'm at currently in the timeline, Andy Worski has gotten his main channel back. He hasn't seen that channel in a few years, I think. And there's a long story behind that. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, he got that channel back recently, like in my timeline. And I remember correctly, he had reached out to Keem, or Keem had reached out to him, because remember, Keem was trying to ingratiate himself amongst the sector back in those days, especially, Medicare and all those guys. You know what I'm saying? So he was really trying to get himself cool with them and trying to clean his image up. And allegedly, Andy and PPP accused him of not being able to do anything or not doing anything because they thought the channel, didn't come back quick enough. I don't necessarily remember that. That might be a thing, but I don't personally remember that, but it could be. But it doesn't matter because, Andy got it back recently. So what's done is done. But they decided to speak on it and give their takes on what they think the situation is. This is at a time where Wings hasn't actually come back to the show yet. CD-ROM is there. You guys are keeping up with the current situation. You know what CD-ROM's going through. And then Jay Hoove, richest boy, is now caught up in some shit on his own situation, which is related or it's similar, I should say, to what CD-ROM's going through. And if Keem don't really clean up, or doesn't decide to clean up his community, especially that Discord, or those Discords, I should say, for those of you who know, he's gonna have a whole lot more of those type of people coming out of it. So it's a mess all around, on top of all the bullshit's going on in the commentator community. In any case, it should be fun. We'll see DSP's reaction to it, and I'm pretty sure Diggs went ahead and edited in the LOLCOW live version, which will be later on in this. We'll get a nice laugh, and there'll be a follow-up to this later, so that'll be a thing, and it'll be another video, and so on and so forth. So basically, going over DSP's week off, or at least his reaction to other people's reaction to it. Have a good laugh, you know what I'm saying? Have some bacon, have some delicious beverages, and we'll be all good. So, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And let's go ahead and move forward positively with our scenario. Let's see here. Gotta be honest with you, I don't like this monitor, man, but I'm not sure if I need as large as it is. I don't know if I actually really need it. For gaming, it's great, but I don't know if I actually need it otherwise. Anyhow, that's a problem I will deal with when I come across. Yeah, let's do that. And let's see if we can find the video in question. I'll give you guys the official title and date, and we can get started.
All that stuff, right?
All right, here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Bring my notes over. I'm a professional, not a professional. Play one on YouTube poorly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Raw Phil. Big ups to Raw Phil. This was cut by Diggs. Darkside Phil speaks on Keemstar and LOLCOW Live, talking about his channel strikes, and LOLCOW Live speaking on us, giving their hot take on it. This is from July 28th of 2025. Womp womp. And without further ado, all good here. Here we go. Should have done that in the Mario voice. I don't smell no bacon cooking. Here we go.
All that stuff, right? So, yeah. People are saying Keemstar made a tweet.
It's been a while since I've seen Jasper, so that's pretty good. It's funny how they announced that Keemstar made a tweet, and DSP is immediately looking to run to Twitter, which is interesting. Like, what do you think? Is Keem gonna offer you another 50 grand, and now you're ready to take it? What's the situation here? Did you have some post-nut clarity on, man, I need to get this money, especially now that Wings isn't there, or at least at that time he wasn't there?
Really? Okay, let's take a look. I don't know anything about this. This is interesting.
Yeah, that shit-eating grin tells me that he's been paying attention and whatnot, so he knows exactly what's going on. You would think a liar, even as terrible as a liar as DSP is, would know how to pick his spots better, you would think.
It's all news to me. I don't know anything about this.
Sure.
You said it's Keemstar's Twitter? It's not LOLCOW Live's Twitter. It's Keemstar's Twitter. Let's see.
That's funny. It's almost like he's anticipating them speaking about him, and that's why he brought up LOLCOW Live instead of Keemstar's personal Twitter or the Drama Alert Twitter. Semantics. He don't know what's going on. He has no clue what's going on. Remember that. Good to see Jasper still doing all right.
Not that I see. I don't see it.
You don't see what? Remember, they just said that Keemstar put out a tweet. See what exactly? What are you expecting to see, Phil? Remember, you don't know nothing about nothing, but he's looking for something in particular. He's looking for something very specific. Why is that if you don't know what's going on? Something to think about.
There's nothing on his Twitter. It's LOLCOW Live's Twitter, okay? It's nonsense. Do you guys not understand, like, bait content? Seriously, do not understand bait content.
Oh man.
Here we go. Ready? What's hilarious is I don't think I can even make that face. Let's see. You can tell this is an AI thumbnail. Here we go. Can I even make that face? How do I?
It's the case of like it's like the invasion of the Gouty body snatchers or some shit. That's fucking hilarious. What the fuck are you doing, Phil? That's hilarious.
I don't think my mouth opens that much.
Oh, I'm sure you've opened pretty wide for PvP and Andy at one time or another. I'm sure Keem has you sized up real well for your inevitable time over there. Let's not. You should talk to Officer Sanders. She has a lot of practice. She's not very good at it, but she has a lot of practice.
It's obvious AI thumbnail, right?
Yeah, obviously.
So,
It's funny how the AI looks more healthier than the real thing. Like Gouty vampire shit. Oh, you look like he ain't fed in a while.
P got a strike and I'm helping him. Do you not see all the question marks? You see these question marks? Whenever you see a question mark like this, it means it's bait. It means all they're going to do on the show is they're going to talk about it. I'm looking at the wrong camera. They're going to talk about it and say, hey, did it happen? Instead of saying, hey.
Well, speculation. Yeah, Phil, that's a thing.
Hey, it happened, and here's all the evidence, and here. It's bait. It's a bait show. They basically have nothing to talk about tonight, so they're bringing up my name to have something to talk about.
So I don't know how that's a bad thing, because he says he doesn't bring up drama unless he's having a slow day or a slow show himself. So what's the big deal?
So why are they saying this? Like, what brought this on?
You and aren't you and Keem still on Discord with each other and shit? Why don't you reach out to him and find out? You brought up your Discord on stream before. Just send him a message and see what he says.
Does anyone know? Like, why are they saying that? Doody Streams says I have a channel strike. Well, we all know that everything that Doody Streams says is 100% factually confirmed and true. There's never been an instance ever where Doody Streams has done something that's false or said something that was untrue about me. Never. Doody has never lied or exaggerated or extrapolated or made something up.
He's definitely lied. That's for damn sure. And he's definitely lied on people, the wrong ones. That's for damn sure as well. But, you know what I'm saying, for you, who could say? It'd be nice if Duty actually has some proof, unless he's running around saying it was speculation. Which, if it is, then you can let him slide on that. But if he's stating it as fact, or if we're in DMs harassing people to deal with shit so he can get a reaction out of you, I mean, there's that too. there's that too.
For personal gain and views. Never. But do you see my point? My point is thus, I said this weeks ago, and I'll say it again. This weird vortex revolves around me. I don't create the vortex. I don't control the vortex. I want nothing to do with the vortex. I've disavowed it, right? I want nothing to do with any of this nonsense. But they leech daily off of me. Okay? Every single day.
Oh,
they need me. Without me, there's nothing going on. They have no content. They have no lives. They have no personalities. They have to just basically every day make content out of me. So when I was gone for a week, it was like oh my God, I'm in the middle of the Sahara and I'm so thirsty and I'm looking everywhere and I can't find a drop of water anywhere. I'm so dehydrated, right? So what it is then?
It's funny is he's not even the end all be all in his own wife's life, like in his own quote unquote family's life, and he assumes that's what the situation is with every other detractor who decides to make content on him. That's kind of wild, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're not the primary concern of even your own. You're even like even your own family, like your own parents and shit. You know what I'm saying? You're more of a burden than anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's only probably less than a handful of people that may or may not have been crashing out while DSP's gone, if the number's even that large. To be honest, I personally didn't see anybody. So, but I heard things. But even then, you know what I'm saying? Nothing serious. It wasn't that big of a deal. You actually did people a favor, I think. And it's very clear that that bothers you. So now you got to go ahead and extrapolate this whole notion of what your existence is, and it's really just not that serious, bro. It's not that serious. I mean, truth be told, there were some people who needed a break. There were some people who needed a break.
Now is I come back, and now all of a sudden it's like, well, now we have to try to hyper focus on this, even though this was almost a month ago now, right? We've already moved on. I'm already back 2-3 weeks. Already kept making.
But truth be told, he hasn't been the same since he's came back too. So whatever it was definitely impactful. Not just in the fact that the period of time that he was gone, but how he has reacted and continued to react since then. So, which continues to drive the speculation.
Great content. Things are great, right? But they're still like hanging on this nonsense that Phil was gone for a week. So what was it? What was the reason? You'll never know because I'm never going to tell you. If one day I so choose to tell you about my personal life and things going on in it that aren't part of all of this, then you'll know.
So how do we go from never gonna know unless one day I decide to tell you where, like, do you not understand what never means? So you're gonna pocket it, you know what I'm saying, for the day that you need to go ahead and bring that out for what, sympathy bucks or whatever? Is that what this is? Is this going to turn into one of those situations like those supposed fan letters that you get, and you have to go ahead and squirrel that shit away until, you know, money starts to dry up, we stop hitting goals or whatever the case may be, and then we bring that out as like an impact statement to fucking rally the rest of the herd into, you know, getting back on track with the momentum and shit. Stop. Whatever it was that at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, whatever it was that he got hit with, it hurts, and it still hurts, and he's not really dealing with it well, whatever it may be. So that in itself is enough for me. I mean, I'm gonna keep speculating until he eventually says what it is, or he gets tricked into saying what it is, which sooner than later that will happen. It's, you know what I'm saying, he's done it for everything else, so.
Otherwise, you'll never know.
Or whatever it was has already been said, it's already been stated, and he knows that, and he just doesn't want to give it any more attention, which is more than likely what, at least that's what I'm thinking is what happened. Somebody has already come up with it, and he'll just keep his mouth shut. It's easier that way for him, and at the very least. Because if he confirms it, he's fucked. Obviously.
And that's my prerogative, to have a private life. I have the ability to do that. And you should respect that. If you don't, you're an obsessed, freakish, mentally broken weirdo who should be committed. Or at very least, seek professional.
So you running around chasing Justin at all times of the night and shit, you keeping up with Max and what he's making and whatnot, you chasing around people in the FGC, seeing what they're doing, popping up on their streams in the middle of the night and all that shit, that right there isn't obsessive? That shit's not weird? Aren't you supposed to be spending time with your wife after a long work day? What the fuck you doing watching Justin's stream for, bro? What are you doing on Max's stream and shit at 2 o'clock in the morning? Basically, I mean, make it make sense.
It'll help because you're a danger to yourself and society around you.
Wow.
Okay? It's that simple. If you're hyper fixated and hyper focused on someone and you just want to know everything about them, then you're messed up. That's obsession. And that's not normal behavior. Now, there's some people who want that because they get content out of it. If I obsess about Phil, every piece of content I make about him gets views from weirdos, and then I make money, right? It's just messed up. Like I said, I really do feel like it's grifting today. It's not like it used to be. There actually used to be legit, like, obsessed people. Now it's just obsession, crazy obsession. All right.
There used to be legit obsessed people. Now it's just obsession. What the hell does that mean? Let me bring this back. That's kind of funny.
Committed, or at very least, seek professional help because you're a danger to yourself and society around you. Okay? It's that simple. If you're hyper fixated and hyper focused on someone, and you
mean like how you were obsessing in Leanna's messages and shit after she messaged you that one time for her to be your girlfriend, until she finally caved and did so? You mean like that? Don't worry, we can wait. We can wait.
just want to know everything about them, then you're messed up. That's obsession, and that's not normal behavior. Now, there's some people who want that because they get content out of it. If I obsess about Phil, every piece of content I make about him gets views from weirdos, and then I make money, right?
So you seem okay with that. Okay, fair enough. That's been established.
It's just messed up. Like I said, I really do feel like it's grifting today. It's not like it used to be. There actually used to be legit, like, obsessed people. Now it's just obsession. Crazy.
So there used to be legit obsessed people. Now it's just obsession. So you mean like that girl that you were obsessing about all crazy and shit, and it was getting to the point where you thought you were going to end up doing something drastic? Which, now that I think about it, what exactly were you going to do drastic? Was it going to be to yourself, or was it going to be to her? See, that's one of those things that people don't ever bring up, but it makes me wonder. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of a weird thing to be saying and shit. Because, you know, most obsessed people like yourself, Phil, especially about a female that they can't get, they usually end up doing something stupid. And usually if it goes to the extreme like that, they end up hurting that person. Or themselves. Or both. So exactly how far were you willing to go with that? I just thought I'd throw it out there.
The obsession. All right. Anyway. So in regards to all of this, what's happening is people are trying to figure out, I guess, why I was gone for the week, even though it's none of anyone's business. And I already told you guys, you're not going to hear the answer. There's absolutely nothing going on in any of this regard whatsoever. Okay, nothing. So
we're still talking about this. Why? Let it go, Phil.
Everything these people are saying is completely falsified and fake and nonsense. LOLCOW Live is baiting. There's a bunch of question marks because they actually don't know anything, and all they're going to do is sit there and they're going to talk about, does Phil have a strike? Why do people think he has a strike? Well, let's watch this guy who said it, and let's watch that guy who said it. Now, if he has a strike, what does that mean? How does that affect his channel? How could something be helped? Could we help him if he...
I mean, isn't that called speculation, though? And then it's funny, too, because he had, well, in my timeline, he had a story that he had gone over, or maybe it was probably before this timeline, actually. Anyway, early on, he had a situation where he was talking about the FGC and how jealous he was, right? And he was talking about Justin and Ricky Ortiz and some of the other top players, right? And he literally sat on his fucking stream for like the better part of like 15 minutes, speculating if they were Nepo babies or not. How were they getting their money? How were they being funded to go to all these tournaments? How to be able to do all this and that. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, it's been like 15 plus years at this point. And he's still thinking about that. He's still thinking about that. Who the hell's the more obsessed person here? Who's the one that has those type of tendencies? Who's the one who, in some veiled type of way, basically said he threatened to harm himself or a female that he was obsessed with because she wouldn't pay him attention? Who's the same person who was in some chick's DMs, not just Panda, but Cat too, for all we know? If the way DSP does anything is the way he does everything, so I'm assuming it's probably the same type of way, and basically badgered and begged for Panda and probably Cat to go out with him. And who knows how long he did that? Something to think about.
He had a strike. Could he reach out to us? Could we reach out to him? It's going to be a fluff episode.
And he's worried, and he has the nerve to get butthurt because he put out a cryptic tweet or community post, whatever it was, about he's going to be gone for the foreseeable future and he's not sure when he's going to be back, and he's wondering why people are speculating about it. Eat a dick. Eat a dick. You wanted people to speculate on it. You wanted people to fucking, you know what I'm saying, give it attention and give it light, and it made it to LOLCOW Live, which is probably what he wanted, obviously. So let's not act like you're above it.
Episode of nothing. It's going to be a fluff episode of nothing, right? There's nothing there. There's no substance to it because they don't know anything. They don't know if I have a strike. They don't know. Yeah, they know nothing. How would they know? Right? And the thing is, Keemstar has access to talk to me whenever he wants. He can message me. I can message him. We have direct line of contact. It's not like it used to be where we were hard to reach each other and we were fucking with each other, acting like we couldn't reach each other.
Whoa, what does that mean? No. Keem never said that. Keem went out of his way to try to, well, didn't go out of his way. He tried to reach out to you. He went through Boogie. He went through Wings. He tried to reach you directly. He tried to do it through your streams. He tried to do it on Twitter. You kept giving him the email, fucking lame ass bullshit, whatever. When you finally gave him your number, you said you'd be available around these times. I believe he did call you around those times, and you gave him the further runaround. Right here, he's admitting that he basically fucked around and wasted Keem's time on purpose. Keem never fucked around with him on how to contact with him. It was a one-sided thing that DSP's doing, and he's actually admitting it here. Give me a second.
Does Phil have a strike? Why do people think he has a strike? Well, let's watch this guy who said it, and let's watch that guy who said it. Now, if he has a strike, what does that mean? How does that affect his channel? How could something be helped? Could we help him if he had a strike? Could he reach out to us? Could we reach out to him? It's going to be a fluff episode of nothing. It's going to be a fluff episode of nothing, right? There's nothing there. There's no substance to it because they don't know anything. They don't know if I have a strike. They don't know. Yeah, they know nothing. How would they know? Right? And the thing is, Keemstar has access to talk to me whenever he wants. He can message me. I can message him. We have direct line of contact. It's not like it used to be where we were hard to reach each other and we were fucking with each other, acting like we couldn't reach each other. No, if we have something to talk about, we can talk to each other right now.
He purposely wasted Keem's time, which is what we all speculated anyway. That he was purposely dodging Keem and trying to waste his time and shit. Keem himself eventually came to that conclusion as well. But DSP made it sound like, oh, he's trying to harass me. He's trying to control my life and my streams and to drop everything for him. You knew exactly what that guy wanted, right? That whole thing with Boogie. Oh, Boogie said you wanted to talk to me, but you didn't know what, or he didn't specify exactly what it was. And then DSP got caught up in the next lie when saying, well, yeah, he did say he wanted to do a podcast, something about 50 grand. And this is all on side scrollers. And Keemstar was like, so Boogie did tell you what I was wanting. Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't hear it directly from you. And now DSP in the current timeline is calling people like Boogie and Wings just workers. So he doesn't give a shit about the messengers. He needs to hear it from the boss directly. You see how everything kind of comes around full circle sooner than later? But that right there is an interesting admission, because yet again, it proves that DSP will go out of his way to waste people's time just so he can. And then he played the victim the entire time, like he was the one that was being harassed. And it wasn't. He went out of his way to make it difficult for Keem to be able to talk to him. But DSP made it sound like Keem was the one who was the aggressor, who was being rude, who was being out of pocket. Wow. Now, take that, ladies and gentlemen, and refer back to what happened when DSP had hired that realtor, or his parents did, whichever that situation was, to try to sell the Connecticut condo. And how all he had to do was pick up the phone and answer this guy's questions. He wouldn't, and after a while, he wanted everything by email. And after a while, the guy's like, you know what, man, I can't help you. And just immediately dropped them. And then what did DSP do? Play the victim. Oh, the neighborhood's bad. Oh, the neighbors are bad. Oh, no one wants to rent the property because of such and such reasons, and this, that, and third. And that wasn't the case. He was too lazy and too stupid to do anything. Even while he was paying somebody, or his parents were actively paying somebody to do the work, he was too stupid to just pick up the phone and have a 10 or 15 minute conversation. Well, I'm working right now, man. He needs to call during my work hours. That same excuse he gave with that realtor is damn near the same thing he did with Keem. Except for Keem, he meant to be malicious when he was doing it. That's telling. That's really, really telling.
He didn't reach out to me. So obviously, this isn't anything I even need to be involved in. This is just a bait episode. Okay, really, it's a 100% a bait episode.
And if you're Keem, why it makes a lot more sense to send Boogie or Wings or both out there to talk to DSP because DSP has a history of wasting your time on purpose. So why would you want to come out there and speak to him directly? Damn, DSP is stupid as hell. He's stupid as shit.
Which is fine. Let them do it. I don't care. I'm not involved in it. But I don't know. None of this is true. None of it whatsoever. There's, no, there's no.
If it has nothing to do with you, let it go. It's clear that you don't have shit to talk about. So whatever. If it's not true, if they don't have any information, if no one's going to find out and you're not involved, let it go.
Strike. No, I'm not involved in any kind of problems on YouTube whatsoever. We're talking about anyone about getting anything fixed. Nothing. There's nothing going on. I don't know where people are getting this nonsense from because, again, it's just wild speculation based on the fact that people are obsessed with me. And anyone else who's a creator can take a week off and no one really cares, especially because I was back as soon as I could be back. It wasn't like I took a month off unannounced and everyone was missing me and like, what the hell happened? Now Phil's not making content anymore. I was gone for a week. I came back. I've been making my content regularly again with no problems whatsoever, right? So why is anyone still talking about this? How is it even anyone's business? It's not. But the people who obsess on it, I'm not even talking about it anymore, right? Like we've moved on. But these weirdos can't let it go because this is content for them, right?
Yeah, basically.
They're nuts. They're fucking weirdo obsessed freaks. So they need to know. No, you don't.
And then it's hilarious because this is coming from an idiot who literally puts his entire life online. And then he has the nerve to get mad that people have an opinion about it. If what they're saying isn't true, right? Or if there's no real like validation to anything that's being speculated, then just ignore it and move on. But he can't because his ego's too damn big. His ego's too damn big. And he's scared that sooner than later someone's gonna figure it out if they haven't done it already, and it's gonna get traction. And then he's gonna have to do damage control, and we all know DSP's really, really bad at that. So
you don't need to know, and you're never going to know. You can make up as much as you want. You're not going to know. That's too bad. Excuse me. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We got some tips coming in here. Let's take a look. I got a $2 tip. This is the same guy who was talking about the InXS Sega CD playthrough again. He says, it was your parody of InXS's Not Enough Time. You said not enough time for all the dicks that I suck. This is pure gold. I laughed good. Reacting to that playthrough would be awesome. And maybe put the rest of your Sega CD videos on a playlist to watch later. Hope you have an awesome day. Yeah, that's a classic series. Me doing all the Sega CD stuff is really good because it was really bad. Like the stuff is bad. It's terrible. And the gimmick was, oh, look, it's FMV on a CD. But none of it was good. It was all trash. And it's fun to make fun of it. So you'll enjoy it. You got to watch Slam City, Scottie Pippen Slam City. If you watch, I think one of them was called Way of the Warrior or something like that. It's like a hand-to-hand combat game. That's hilarious. Oh, I think at one point I did a full playthrough of both Night Trap and what was
Thank God. I didn't care about any of that.
All righty. Thanks for the $2, by the way. Here you go. I got a $2 tip. This person says, it's just like with soap opera characters. Some people will obsessively hate or stan them. It's a big thing in both female and gay circles for some reason. There you go. So I guess.
I mean, DSP is pretty gay. So, I mean, I suppose that's a thing.
You're either female or you're homosexual. And that's why you hyper focus on me and you obsess about me and you think about me 24/7. And you need to know.
That's funny because don't you obsess about Low Tier God? And Low Tier God says that exact same thing, actually. That everybody who follows him and makes content on him must be fucking homosexual or must be gay for him or whatever. That's kind of funny. I'm not surprised DSP would copy copy of man that he's attracted to. So I guess that's a thing. That's all par for the course.
Every single aspect of my life at every moment, despite the fact that you're not entitled to, nor do you deserve that information, nor will you ever have it. You just can't stand the fact that you don't know everything about Dark Side Phil. That's right.
Shouldn't it really be because you don't know everything about Phil Burnell? Because isn't Dark Side Phil and DSP all a persona or whatever? Whatever. I feel like Dark Geppetto is probably the worst out of the four anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
All right. Oh, they've done that already. Jay Kuma says, next thing you know, they'll be talking about how you changed Jasper's cat food. They already did. Don't you remember? Don't you remember? You know, I make a passing mention about going to a vet, or that Jasper at one point had some issues with like his urinary tract, so he changed his diet.
He's had a problem with his urinary tract infection a couple times. I want to go as far as saying a few times, to be honest with you. And that's because, as DSP has admitted, him and that fucking human amalgamation that he calls a wife, which is really just his roommate, don't seem to, between the two of these fucking brain trusts, don't seem to know how to clean a fucking litter box. And he himself has complained how bad the litter boxes smell. So Jasper didn't want to use them because they weren't clean. So he was running around the house trying to find a spot to use it, because these two idiots couldn't do basic shit. And then they wouldn't feed him. Like, well, they would, but they said that Jasper didn't like the food, so they kept giving him treats instead of stop giving him treats and let him eat the food that you guys keep providing him. Like, they're the worst of the fucking worst. These are people who can't heat up shit in a fucking air fryer. So I'm surprised Jasper's even alive. But then if you go by the nonsense in the fucking Triple P fucking leaks or whatever, the DM leaks, I mean, they, like I said, they must have some type of pet cemetery going on over there in the Snort Fort with the way pets keep dropping over there. And theoretically, if you guys remember back when Panda left, DSP had bought like 3 plants. And I can't remember if he used Patreon money on it or not. It's a whole rigmarole. But anyway, they died. Literally, it's not funny, but they literally died like one after another. Why? Because 1, they weren't getting any sunlight. 2, he was barely fucking watering them. And then he was surprised that they just died on him for some reason. Fucking ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Matter of fact, just to show how much of an asshole I am, I'm pretty confident one of them was in that hallway. There's no windows there. There's no natural light whatsoever. And he even had admitted that he had damn near knocked into that thing a couple of times. So he clearly wasn't watering it. Amazing shit. Just, if you go back and look, you'll find it. But absolutely amazing shit.
Talk about that. They literally do. That's not even...
Matter of fact, Panda, let me go even further. Panda had a garden of sorts in the backyard for a time. And yet again, when she left, DSP let all that shit die. Whatever she had back there. He let all that shit die. Each and every bit of it. So, there you go. Like I said, he's not capable of even taking care of himself, let alone anything else. It's the same guy who came on stream, right? Bitched and complained about how he's having a hard time taking care of himself, making meals, doing laundry, this, that, and the third. War Dog Leader comes in, gives him some good advice, and he completely shits on War Dog Leader and his deceased relative. I'm pretty sure it was his brother, if I remember correctly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how fucking wild that situation was. And more importantly, that time period. For those of you who know, you know. I hope Mr. Huff Stuff re-uploads all of his stuff and whatnot so you guys can kind of experience that. Because most of that stuff is kind of sort of lost media.
An exaggeration or a joke. They did talk about that, and they did make it a topic like that was something important, right? Like a cat owner has a cat. The cat has an issue. I just casually mention it in passing on a random stream, and it becomes a...
Well, no, that's not true. There's an archive out there, actually, that you can get it to. There's an archive you can get that too. Actually, I need to go through that and see if I can probably find some of that. I'll put that on my list. But there are some resources out there that you might be able to find some of that lost stuff, especially from that time period.
Big hyper-focused drama controversy for them. Seriously. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and as it pertains to the vet thing, sorry, he's really mad because, one, he got called out for not getting Jasper the blood test. And then he made it sound like the veterinarian was trying to rip them off, which was insane. It was insane. And he's like, oh, well, I only need to bring Jasper to the vet to be vaccinated and if he's sick. So no preventive care at all. He was like, what's that? After he said that, I was done. After he said that, I was done. And I was like, all right, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm like their Truman Show. They're just so bizarre. But again, there's some people, okay, who the reason that they do it is because they make bank on it. That's why they do it. It's not because they actually care about me or anything like that. They just know that the more that they know and talk about me, there's this weirdo community on the internet of just fucked people. Their heads are split, you know?
I mean, anybody caring about you doesn't make a whole lot of sense since you don't even care about yourself. So that really doesn't mean much. And you've shown a penchant to not care about any of the people that are around you. So, yet again, kind of dealing with some double negatives here.
What I'm saying, their brains are snapped, and they will eat up any piece of information about me, true or not, that is even spoken. I mean, 99% of what's said on most of these channels, like Duty, is completely fake. It's 100%.
99% of everything that's said about you is completely fake. Okay, that's an interesting perspective.
Excuse me, 99% fabricated. It's 1% truth, 99% nonsense, but people don't care. They just want the nonsense. That's all they're looking for is the drama.
And then he's going to give you a bunch of reasons and excuses on how the 1% was taken out of context, or, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't the way it was framed, or so on and so forth, to bring it back up to 100%, I guess. Like, you know what I'm saying, if you're not willing to take some responsibility for, you know, the things that you've said and done on your own platform, how do you expect anybody else to give you a pass or even be willing to see things from your perspective? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He literally wants to be rewarded for nothing. Amazing.
Of course, everything is always spun into something negative and toxic. They say I do Nazi salutes. I've never done a Nazi salute.
The hell you haven't. I've used that shit in thumbnails, bro. He has a natural penchant for doing that shit. That shit's hilarious. That's just hilarious. Let alone the whole green screen thing that he did where he was blatantly doing the Nazi salute, but he never did the Nazi salute. All right, bet.
They say I wear a Nazi hat. I never worn a Nazi hat.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. He's talking about his little dictator hat. I was like, did you not know what Hitler was? Maybe he didn't.
You know, it's all the
It might benefit him to actually go and look up and look deep into his Polish heritage. To be honest with you, it might benefit him get an understanding of it. You know what I'm saying? But I get it though, DSP. You would rather be on the side on that side of the situation instead of being a victim of it. Even though Italy didn't recover as well as people thought they would. Not as well as France did, or some of those other countries after the war. Semantics, though.
The crap that they make up constantly. No, I never played Deep Rock Galactic. We looked into it, but I've never played it. Isn't it good I'm getting coverage? I've explained this before. I do not benefit from drama content. I do not.
Let's be perfectly honest. And on top of that, how Mussolini and his fucking mistress got strung up. Like, god damn, dog. I mean, I didn't think they would string the mistress up or whatever. They at least I mean, I can see they get doing away with her in a different way, but god, dog. Anywho, as it pertains to positive or any coverage in general, DSP is to the point where good publicity, which never shows up, so we don't have to worry about that. But good publicity or bad publicity doesn't benefit him either which way. It's all the same. And that's something that makes Darkseid feel rather unique. That even when, even if things were to go well for him, it still doesn't mean anything in the long and short, right? It's all would be looked at as just short-term gains. Like, let me give you an example, because I'm good for that. If DSP won the lottery tomorrow, for example, let's say he won $20 million. Let's just say, you know what I'm saying? He would run around and act like, you know, he's king shit. He finally got his come up for all these other YouTubers who didn't respect him or overlooked him or wouldn't help him or whatever. Now look at him instead of third, whatever. No one would care. They would literally be like, no one would care. And then assholes like me are just going to turn around and be like, oh, look at that. DSP won the lottery. Just like how he allegedly won the YouTube lottery when he had popularity back in the day. It was all just a fluke. It could have happened to anybody. It doesn't mean anything. So I can easily, myself or anybody else really, can diminish the value of that one come up just like that. And what will DSP do? He'll spend his time and he'll spend his money trying to prove he's something that he's not. And that only works to my advantage because that's just more content. He would literally put himself into a hole to try to prove that he's better. You can't pay for, there's nothing more reliable than a person that will sell their soul for cold hard cash. Or, in DSP's case, for clout. Or to appease his ego. There's nothing more reliable than that. And he still hasn't figured it out. And when he talks about benefiting, he doesn't actually mean money, believe it or not. He really is talking about his ego and his public image. Two things that he lost a long time ago. Those things are gone. Those things are gone. And we won't even bring up pride because he never had any.
Okay. Who would I benefit from if I made drama content? A completely different audience than the audience that I want. I want an audience that comes by to hang out, enjoy my company. I enjoy your company. We have a good back and forth conversation, social aspect to the streams. That's awesome. That interactivity we have. I want to play games, enjoy games, rage at games, whatever it is. And we share that live experience together.
That's not what he wants. What he wants is drones. He wants NPCs. He doesn't want people that are going to speak back because anybody who speaks back will more than likely have a different idea or thought than him. That doesn't work to his advantage. He may deal with some mouth drooling responses for a little while. He may entertain it, I should say, or humor it, but he doesn't want any real thinkers. That's why all those people either left or he did everything he could to push them out all those years ago.
I want to do chill streams. That's the kind of content that I want to make. And I've been successful at doing it, and I am successful at doing it right now. Actually, this is one of the best years in my history I've ever had so far. 2025 is stacking up to be one of my best years ever when it comes to content, profits, and all of this. So thank you for that. And what have I done this entire...
And yet you don't have a lick of money in savings, yet the begging has ramped up month after month after month. I mean, truth be told, and I've said this, the Kino Casino arc, from a financial standpoint as well as other things, is going to be probably one of the worst things that ever happened to him. That large influx of cash, that raise in income, when that shit finally when it finally bottoms out, he's gonna regret ever doing that shit, because he's gonna have his income, I suspect, will be lower than what it was before he got in the bed with Kino Casino. So, and obviously it didn't do anything for his public image. It just proved, if anything else, it just proved that DSP can be manipulated. He can be bought. You know what I'm saying? If the money kept coming in at the way it was, in the first, 6 months, if you will, of that relationship or partnership or whatever, he still stayed. Let's be honest. He don't give a fuck about Cat. That wasn't a deal breaker. Fuck all that. It was the fact that the Kino Casino audience was bored of DSP. And they wanted to go back to real content. If DSP was going to participate in that content, great. But DSP didn't want to do that. He wanted to sit there and play it safe and reap all the rewards. No one has time for that.
Year, the kind of content I want to make. I've taken myself out of drama, and it works. The only time that I would benefit from drama is a different audience of drama content viewers. Hence the Kino Casino audience, the LOLCOW live audience.
So one can make the argument that even back in July, he was humoring the idea that, hey, I got over on Kino Casino, I snaked them, Snake Eater, King Snake. Maybe I can do the exact same thing with LOLCOW. I wouldn't be surprised by it. And yet again, I'm one of those people who believe that he will go on LOLCOW Live. He's going to eventually have to go back to Twitch. So we'll see.
There is an audience for that. I know there's an audience for that, but that's not who I am. That's not the content I want to make. It seems like...
And he was with Kino Casino for how long? 8 months? 8 months. It's a long time to be over there with people who do a thing that you morally don't agree with. Just saying. Semantics.
Endlessly, there's people who want to pull me into that vortex. They want me to be a part of their community. They invoke my name. They try to involve me in their stuff. They're constantly attempting to get me to be in that level of stuff because, number one, they see profit. They see that when people do this drama content about me, they make bank. So they think, hey, if we get DSP involved himself, this is going to be genius level. We're going to have so much. But take a look at what happened with Kino Casino. All right, let's analyze this fairly and objectively.
You mean how you backstabbed them? Okay, fair enough. Well, allegedly backstabbed them, I should say.
The first thing we did together was us working on the Rich documentary React, and it worked. Did it not? I had my own things to say. They had their own things to say. It was completely different stuff.
So you piggybacked off of them, basically. So it wasn't really a collaboration. You needed a shield, and you guys had a mutual enemy. So you just tagged along, which most of us thought anyway. It wasn't really a collaboration. He was just, quote unquote, piggybacking off of them. All right, fair enough.
It all combined to be one amazing React. That was a really great piece of content that we did about a year ago. If you remember, it was what, early August?
And it wasn't even about that. It was the $3,000 he made off of them, off of that excursion. That's really what that comes down to.
Last year that we did that. That was...
Because you can't even say that, oh, well, that had a massive impact on RTU, because it didn't. Because fucking Kino Casino already had RTU fucking face down, ass up at that point anyway. He was already, shit, they had Lauren face down, ass up right next to him. So it wasn't like, Rich could do anything to defend himself. Review Tech was at his worst possible spot during him versus Kino Casino. He had nothing on them guys. Nothing. And he had to take that shit week in, week out, and he went onto the streams and hollered and all that bullshit, and all it did was feed back into the machine. They got so much mileage out of Rich, it was insane. You know what I'm saying? And relatively good content came out of it. Well, from Kino Casino. Rich didn't do shit.
Outstanding, amazing collab. All right? I appeared on their show a couple of times. That worked. And then immediately, once that little bit of feeling of, oh, this is fresh and new, once that dies out, it doesn't work anymore.
So just dispose of people. So basically, go ahead and do collaborations with people, right? And whatnot. And while it's still exciting and there's all this hype and this, that, and the third. But once all the hype's gone, once the money starts to get low, you know what I'm saying? Once you yourself don't feel entertained or safe or secure in your in this collaboration, just get rid of them. Okay, Phil. So people are disposable to you. You should front face that. You should just go ahead and tell people, hey, this is just business. And once business teeters out, I'm out. Problem is most people don't like dealing with people like that. You got to be committed, and that's not commitment, obviously. But what the fuck does DSP know about commitment? The last person he was committed to, seriously, was John, and look at how that played out.
Because the truth is, I don't care about drama content. I could be good at it.
But you're not good at it. You're never going to be good at it. That's like when Amberlynn and Foodie Beauty try to do reactions of their like, their trolls or their reactors or whatever, and they both fall flat. Because they can't compete. They can't compete, nor can they like dispel any of the claims that are made against them. All they can say is and last time I checked, that's not an answer. That's certainly not an explanation, but it's not a real answer.
I could be as good as these guys of ripping other people a new asshole and being mean to people constantly and degrading myself and others.
Yeah, no, you're out of your motherfucking mind. Like, not at all. Like, you definitely can't be PPP And I would say you're at current, you and Andy are probably, I'd still put Andy above you. But if this was like 2017 Andy Worski, like Worski Live Andy, you know what I'm saying? Like that's 2016, 2017 Andy. You'd be blown out the water. Easy. Easy. I think Andy back in those days could beat PPP, to be honest. But you know what I'm saying? That was before, all the drugs and all the other bullshit.
I don't want to make that content. Do you get it? I had many opportunities over the years to do it. I saw over 10 years ago that content was getting exciting and people on the internet were loving it and it was becoming monetizable and everyone was talking about it and, oh, you should do it. I didn't want to do it. I said, but you understand I'm a gamer. I don't want to do that stuff.
But that's literally not true. He delved into that, or at least tried to, and he eventually failed. So it is what it was. It wasn't like he wasn't already taking shots at other content creators or people on Twitter at that time anyway. He just couldn't hold on to the audience. That's all.
I don't. Is there opportunity for popularity there? Is there money to be made? Yes, there is. But I don't want that for myself or for my family or for my online community. I just don't want that. And some people don't respect that wish. Some people instead say, well, too bad we want you involved in it because we benefit from it. Well, I don't care. I don't care what benefits you. I care about what benefits myself, my family, my business, my viewers and fans. And this year, getting myself out of that drama sphere and focusing solely on the content that I'm working has shown that it can work. And like I said, I'm literally having one of the best years I've ever had in my entire history, this year, 2025, being outside of the drama. I'm getting more consistent people coming by, watching, engaging, and supporting my content. We're hitting goals. We're doing fun marathons. Everything is working. There's a few bumps in the road here or there, but for the most part, this has been a truly successful year. I literally just said earlier on this show, okay?
Has he forgotten that the beginning of that year, though, was dependent on drama content? And really all he was doing was living high on the hog, no pun intended, off of the residuals until that shit dried up? Because currently in my timeline, he's gone a couple of streams without hitting a goal, and he's freaking the fuck out, and it's very clear that he is. And now he's wage quitting everything, basically, and whatnot, with subtle threats here and there that it might come back, it might not, but if you really like this, you need to support it. But everything is basically toppling out. Or bottoming out, I should say. And let's not even talk about how views are looking on YouTube. That's not the conversation to be having. Especially for someone who's actually dependent on people watching his videos, let alone contributing to the streams to help him. Just saying.
How crazy is it that the summertime used to be the most dead time of the year where nothing was going on? I didn't know what content to make because
that was literally not true. It was dead for him, but it wasn't dead for other people, and that don't make sense because there were plenty of great games out there. He was playing some of them, so why couldn't he succeed where other people were? You know what I'm saying? But he'll never be able to answer that. Not honestly.
there was no new games. I was so reliant on new AAA releases coming out.
You still are. You still are.
That when they didn't come out, I floundered. I would have a really slow summer and I'd be like, oh man, you got to support me because now.
So I guess you're not successful. I guess you're not talented. I guess you don't have any of the attributes that you constantly claim that you do if you're completely and utterly dependent on new releases. He said it right here. Here, I'll bring it back. I'll try not to go too far back this time though. And I may have already failed at that.
This year, 2025, being outside of the drama, I'm getting more consistent people coming by, watching, engaging, and supporting my content. We're hitting goals. We're doing fun marathons. Everything is working. There's a few bumps in the road here or there, but for the most part, this has been a truly successful year. I literally just said earlier on this show, okay? How crazy is it that the summertime used to be the most dead time of the year where nothing was going on? I didn't know what content to make because there was no new games. I was so reliant on new AAA releases coming out that when they didn't come out, I floundered. I would have a really slow summer and I'd be like, oh man, you got to support me because now things are slow. It's the opposite. I literally have too much to do. I haven't even played all the things people want me to do. And
let me point this out because this is another fatal flaw in the Brunel Productions fucking business strategy. That's the reason why he's willing to skip new releases when they come out. because he thinks, oh, well, when we get into the dead times, the dented times, I should say, when we get into the dark ages, if you will, he thinks, oh, well, you know those new releases that came out 4 months ago? I can play them now, and he thinks that'll carry him over to the next playthrough, until the next large batch of games. Or it's also it's another reason why he stretches games out the way he does, and he's failing on multiple fronts. Because when you have new releases come out, and you're willing to quit them after a single stream, what does that say? That's not the game's fault, nor is it the game's problem. You already paid for it. So the game publisher has already won that war, you know what I'm saying? Or they've already won that battle, I should say. So the rest of it falls on you. And that's where we're getting, where these new releases are just they're not hitting. So if he's having to threaten a wage quit after a single stream and then ends up dropping it a stream or two later, what does that mean exactly? But according to DSP, hey, if there's no new games out, I'm floundering. I'm fucked. So where's all that talent? Where's all that charisma? You know, where's all that passion, enthusiasm, and all that other fucking yada, yada, yada bullshit? Where's all that at then? It sounds to me like none of it exists. None of it ever existed. If DSP has always relied on new releases, period. He always has, he always will. And the thing is because of his ineptitudes as it pertains to how games are presented or how he presents them, and more importantly, how he executes on them, no one cares to see that shit anymore. It was an amusing sideshow. People have moved on. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has cell phones now. No one cares about going out to carnivals or circuses and all that bullshit. What's done is done.
Coming out to support the things I'm doing, it's exploded in a positive way. There's been a burst of positivity and support here on the streams. There you go. Are you happy now that I made a reference? A big burst. And I'm happy for it. Okay? So, yeah, it's been great. And I have no complaints. That's what I mean. I don't want to be pulled into the drama sphere. You know, I know for a fact there's people that want me involved. I'm not. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. There's no reason for me to. Again, when I do that, I'm not appealing to my core audience who's supporting me and making me successful. In fact, I'm turning them off. When I was going head first into drama with Kino Casino, my fans were contacting me behind the scenes saying, if you keep going this way, we're going to leave. You know, I've been a longtime fan of yours for 10, 15 years, but I don't want to see you do this constantly. You're doing all this drama, and it's not fun content. It's toxic. It's harmful. It's just a bunch of nonsense. We're here for games. We're here for fun, chill streams. We're here for your opinions, and because we just want to hang out with you. We're not here so you can smash this person and degrade this person and then get into an argument with this person. And that's all that certain people know. You know, that's all they know.
And see, he's full of shit because first off, in his time with Kino Casino, which is about 8 months, give or take, he made about 50 grand. On top of that, the only reason, and he's admitted this, I've gone over it, the reason why he snaked Kino Casino, allegedly, is because, well, he actually admitted it here too. The content wasn't new, it wasn't fresh, and basically he wasn't profiting the way that he was starting to become accustomed to. So this whole thing about his core fans and all, fuck all that. He didn't give a shit about any of that. If the money kept coming through the way he wanted to, he'd have kept doing it. He didn't give a fuck about none of you people. He had already sold your asses, you know what I'm saying, in servitude, basically. Or he kicked you guys right up off the ship altogether. You guys had no value. Because you guys definitely weren't going to be able to match what Kino Casino was bringing in. Or what their audience was bringing in, I should say. So let's not act like, you know, oh, I decided to really listen to them and I weighed it out and I'd rather go ahead and care about my core audience. And on top of that, by the way, his core audience are dense and NPCs anyway. They're not going to go anywhere because there's really nowhere else for them to go. And if they were even brave enough to do so, they'd be so fucking socially awkward or just paranoid that they would get outed for being associated with him. It's better to stay there than try to build somewhere else. Like, end of story.
No, that's all they know how to do. They're literally one-trick ponies. They do the same thing over and over, and they have an audience for it. Good for them. Seriously, good for them, but I don't want to be that. I have no aspirations to be that. Okay? I don't want to. I don't want to blow up to be a million sub YouTuber, but all I do is toxic content. I don't. I'd much rather be a smaller time guy.
I mean, he would never get there anyway. Just imagine if DSP literally tried to commit to drama content. He really can't deal with who's in front of him right now. You want to bring a whole new bunch of people in on that? Nah. He wouldn't be able to contend against guys in the Wings community, the LTG community, the commentator community, the actual T community. He doesn't want none of that smoke, and he knows he don't want none of that. He don't want any of those problems. Is he going to be able to poach, you know what I'm saying, some of the dead weight from all those communities? Sure, he'd be able to do so, but it doesn't mean anything in the long run. If he can't form an army, in air quotes, to actually go after the people who shit on him daily, then what good are they? They're just more Velcro wallets that are there to fucking mouth drool at the content, and that's it. And then eventually they'll topple out too.
And be successful at the level I'm at and maintain and maybe have a little bit of organic growth from time to time, but I'm okay with that. But some people aren't. It's never enough for them. So by any means necessary, step on anyone's neck to get ahead. That's how they are. I've never been like that. Okay? So there you have it, So yeah, anyway, things are good right now with me. This has been one of the best years ever. I don't want to be involved in these drama circles. I'm not going to be involved in the drama circles, and things are going well. So I don't know why LOLCOW Live has invoked my name and put me on their thumbnail. None of it's true. That's probably why they have a million question marks and everything, because it's not true. It's just an episode that's going to say, well, what if? Well, what if DSP has a strike? Well, what could that be from? Well, how could that affect his channel? Well, how could someone help with that? Well, how could that's all it's going to be, a what if episode. And they have the right to do that. They have the right to make that episode. That's okay. Go for it. I'm not offended. They're not saying
no one's asking you for your approval, Phil, so you can go ahead and shut that shit up. I hate how he tries to frame that shit like people are coming to him for approval. No one gives a shit about what you say, Phil. Not like that. Listen, people are going to run around here and do what they want, just like how you ain't ran your mouth for years and did what you want, and then you got mad when you had to deal with the consequences. End of story. You hold no jurisdiction on anything, not even yourself, which is actually kind of sad when you think about that. And not just sad in the pathetic sort of way, it's just kind of sad. Just imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that everything about you that's known online and offline is completely and utterly dictated by other people, and you can't do anything about it. You can't do a damn thing. You know what I'm saying? Like your absolute existence, not just your image, not just how, not just aspects on how people perceive you, but how you yourself choose to live your IRL life is completely and utterly dictated by other people. When DSP gets up in the morning, his first concern are detractors, trolls, haters, and critics. And based off of that, and around that, what he sees on detractor Twitter and what he sees on the farms is basically how he sets his day up, which is one of the reasons why he doesn't leave his house. It's one of the reasons why he doesn't have friends. It's one of the reasons why he can't do collabs with people. His whole entire life is dictated by others. Big ups to Theo. He said that shit years ago and it came into fruition. That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
anything negative about me there, So go for it. Let them have their fun. But I'm telling you, it's not true.
So Kino Casino can have, not Kino Casino. They already had their fun with you. I forgot. They already had their way with you. So it's okay for like LOLCOW Live to have their fun with them, but people like myself can't. That sucks. That's unfortunate. Seems like discrimination if you ask me.
I have nothing to do with it. I haven't been involved with any stuff like that at all. P Wad did a $2 super chat. Can we react to your 666 snake stream? Maybe someday. But I'm gonna be honest, that stream.
Nah, he don't want to confront that shit because it makes him look bad. Just like how he won't go back and react to his won't go back and react to the side scroller interview, nor will he or he also won't, I should say, react to his him and Stuttering Craig's interview. He won't react to that either. He doesn't want to look at either one of those things because they both make him look like a massive piece of fucking shit. Nah, he don't want no parts of that at all. And then he has no way of framing it in such a way to make himself either look like the hero or look like the victim. He's always looks like the villain, so that is what that is. But if he can't look like the hero and he can't look like the victim, then it doesn't serve a purpose. Not his purpose anyway.
could have been a lot better. It's all fucking Review Tech's fault because he's such a dunce. Like, if he had played along and just been a sport for one fucking stream, if he could get over himself and his idiocy, it would have been a great stream.
Well, first off, it would have been a great stream. If I will say this, if Review Tech didn't get his fucking head out of his ass and shit, and went ahead and got the information, right, meaning the actual links to all these documents, download all that shit, flush it into fucking on the Twitter and whatever, and then go through these DMs and call DSP out on each and every one of those things, it could have been far better. But instead, Review Tech worried about some lame ass shit like a mic or some dumb crap, and nothing came out of it. And I understand that some people think, oh, he got an own on DSP, this, that, and the third. If you think so, you know what I'm saying? If that's how you feel, so be it. I'm not going to go ahead and dispel that on your end. I'll tell you what I thought, though. He didn't do shit. He went up there, he went into business for himself and whatnot. DSP desperately, it seems like, tried to get him to play along. Review Tech shoulda, so he could have called him out every step of the way and be like, hey, explain this. How does that make sense, Phil? This, that. He didn't do any of that shit. And then he eventually got his ass booted. And then he ran to his own stream and cried and complained about how he got booted. And then later on, when he got that DSP tattoo, he sat there and got mad and said, oh, well, I would have gone and got the tattoo that day. Or I could have gone to my first appointment about it, but I didn't because I went and did that dumb podcast with DSP. So Review Tech USA has just proven, once again, that he's an absolute fucking waste of space. Completely and utterly. That wasn't an own. He just went up there and made himself look stupid. If he could have gotten his head out of his own ass for a few minutes and found out what DSP actually had, and had him send DSP and had DSP send him the links so he could go through and he could literally just start sending that shit to Twitter. While he's going through it, he literally could have had a chance to call DSP out every step of the goddamn way. Instead, he went into business for himself, and he, at the end of the day, Review Tech did what he usually does. He fucked himself over and he fucked his own image and by proxy his family, because he has to do this shit for a living. So congratulations, he played himself.
Instead, the moron starts derailing and talking about shit that has nothing to do with what the fuck we're there for, because he's an idiot. He just can't help himself then be boring and stupid. So he kind of ruined it, and it just sucked. I mean, let me put it this way. That stream served its purpose. It put an end to my involvement in all the drama, and since then, I'm not involved in it. I don't care. I literally have not heard a single word out of the mouths of Kino Casino, Review Tech, or anyone since then. I pay no attention to any of it. I only know...
So that doesn't mean it stopped. It just means that you allegedly stopped paying attention to it. We already know that's not true. He pays attention to all that, so that doesn't even matter.
I hear hearsay on my streams when you guys come in here and you meme stuff. I know, oh, that must be something that fucking, they said on a show or whatever. And
okay, so then you did hear it. So you are aware of what's going on. So everything you said before was bullshit, yada, yada.
I kind of put two and two together. But I've been completely out of the loop with all their nonsense since, and I'm happy.
How the fuck are you completely out of the loop when you just admitted that you hear that people come to you and tell you what's going on basically daily? Goddamn retard. I swear to God, man.
Happy.
Ridiculous.
Like, that was what, March? So here we are 4 months later. I couldn't be happier to be out of the loop of all this bullshit. Right? I love it. I love the fact that I'm out of it and I'm having a good time with everything.
Yeah, you look real happy. Cope sip.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. A couple more small tips here. Let's see.
And not I have to say this because I believe it is true. I understand why Duty basically talked Rich out of doing that first interview with DSP. Given how that whole 666 podcast went, it makes a whole lot more sense now. It makes a whole lot more sense. And what I don't appreciate Duty lying on me or lying on other people who didn't do shit to him. I don't respect or appreciate none of that shit. But I do understand why he ain't sat there and convinced Rich to not do that interview with DSP the first time. It makes a whole lot of sense because when Rich was allowed to go and do stuff on his own, when his fucking handler wasn't there and shit, with the fucking milk bucket. Look at how fucking Rich ain't sat there and fucked this whole shit up. That's fucking crazy, bruh. That's fucking crazy.
Someone tipped $2. I think I saw this last month. It became invibrant. I think I saw this last month. It became invibrant. No, I'm sorry. I don't think there's anything that I can make out of that one. I'm just gonna say thanks for $2. I have no idea how to interpret that, nor do I think I'm even gonna try to touch that one with a 10-foot pole. Thanks for $2. Appreciate that. All right. Sometimes you just got to give up and move on. Jalen did a $5
Can't really give up when you never started, but semantics.
super chat. I'm glad you're protecting your energy. Protecting your energy? I don't know what that means. And ignoring drama-filled channels. Let's have a...
You knew what the guy meant, basically conserved. You knew what that was. You didn't have to, whatever. It was really easy to extrapolate what that was, but semantics. Like I said, he's very fluent in Dent and in NPC, so it's not like he doesn't understand what some of these people are saying.
Good stream. Thank you, Jalen. I don't know about protecting my energy. It's kind of a weird way to say it, but like I said, okay, I got distracted. I got derailed there. I didn't make my point. Allow me to make my point how I wanted to, because I didn't, okay? The point I was trying to make is this, okay? When I get involved in drama, there is an audience for it, but it's not my audience. You get it?
Didn't you already say that? Okay, fair enough.
If I do drama right now about Kino Casino, that will invoke their audience, not mine. If I do stuff about LOLCOW Live, that will invoke the LOLCOW Live audience, not mine. My audience doesn't want drama. My audience is nothing further from that. They just don't want anything to do with it. They want to hang out with me, enjoy games, and enjoy my company. That's it.
So he wants to blame his own audience for him being stagnant. I see. Gotcha. So that right there has to further reinforce, hey, I want to do these other things, or I could do these other things, or I could be successful with these other things, but I can't do it because of people like you. Because you guys want a certain type of content out of me, and so I have to essentially stifle myself. I have to handicap myself, if you will, to keep providing you guys with what you want. With that being said, you guys are obligated to constantly and consistently support my content, because I could branch out and do other stuff. There's audiences out there for it, but you know, you guys aren't going to pay for it. They will, but you guys won't. So, you know what I'm saying? And they more than likely won't pay for the gaming content. You will. So there is no best of the both worlds in this situation. It has to be one or the other. That's an interesting way of framing it. Not that I would even think most of those people would be able to pick that up. But all right, then. Do what you got to do, King.
So when I do the drama content, I don't see a spike in views, support, or anything from my audience.
Told you.
What I do see is a spike from other groups. The problem with that is once you get the attention of another group, you now have to maintain that or they go away. That's exactly what happened last year with Kino Casino. When I started doing content with them, I got the attention of their audience. Their audience started to come to my streams. They all subbed, right? They all supported for about 2 months. And then after that is I didn't want to do drama constantly. And I got into the hardcore gaming season and we were doing games and they were like, oh, this is just game stuff. We don't care about this. When's the drama? So every once in a while, I would do a little bit of drama. And then all of a sudden you see that video would get a big view boost and I get some more support and then it would go away again. So it's like 2 completely different sets of content. You understand? Like it's either drama content, LOLCOW style content, or it's gaming content, more intelligent content, positive social.
So you can't do half and half. You can't just go ahead and turn the Bottom Bitch podcast, the daily therapy session, into the shooting gallery, which it usually is anyway, right? And get your money off of that. And then when everybody leaves that are into that content, then you have the gaming audience. Oh, wait, the gaming audience is damn near broke. So they're not going to pay for that. So let's go ahead and frame things what it really is. If he does the drama content and the gaming content, the drama content will pay off in the short term, and he'll get nothing out of the gaming stuff. And that's on twofold. One, they don't want to, his gaming content's not worth paying for, really. And two, he would have already hit all of the goals, or hit a goal, just off of the drama shit. So they feel like they wouldn't feel obligated to contribute because he's already made his money theoretically for the day, if not for the stream. That's what he's saying. Which is kind of funny, actually. But the fact that he thinks that some of those people would be able to like figure that out or be able to extrapolate it, it's kind of funny that he would think that's the case. Like, you got the real brain trust over there. We're going to be able to dissect that. Hey, I want to get paid off of this drama content, and I will if I do it on the first part of the stream, but I need you guys to pay to, you know, contribute and keep contributing for the gaming shit. And they're not going to do that. They have no incentive to do that, to be honest. They can just sit back and they can basically be, you know, armchair fucking quarterbacks at this point. Or at that point, I should say. That's hilarious.
Interaction. They're separate. They don't actually go together. They don't. Do you get it? They don't stick together. It's like oil and water. They separate.
And the funny thing is, he doesn't even see the folly. It's really hilarious. He doesn't actually see the folly in what he's doing is wrong. Let me give an example. PvP and Andy play games on their stream sometimes, and they still have an audience for that. People still stick around for it. So it's not like the people who are there for the drama don't like games, right? They don't like the way he does games. And he can't fix that because he's a drone himself and a dent. So, yeah, he can only give them one thing that he knows they're guaranteed to pay for, and then that's it. That's so crazy how you can tell, you can see sparks of self-realization on how limited he is. But the ego, bruh, the ego can't let him fully embrace it and be like, hey, you're the problem, you're the problem, you're the problem. Ego won't let him. It can't. If the ego dies, he dies with it.
So you could either go with the oil or go with the water. Either one works. I want to go with what I've been doing. I don't want to do the drama stuff. Okay. So for me to be involved with that, go on LOLCOW Live, be a part of their show. Why did you snake the casino? Why did you leave them? Because it wasn't working. Get it? It just wasn't. It was actually starting to become more of a detriment than a help. And I've actually been doing better being out of it now than I was before.
That's literally not true. Because he's only in the position he's in is because, he's only in the position he's in is because of Kino Casino. Like, if they never showed up, he wouldn't be where he is now. He's conflating it purposely and whatnot. He's trying to make it sound like, hey, I got what I wanted, and we're still doing great. We're doing even better than great, which just goes to show I didn't really need them in the first place. I did them a favor instead of the other way around. And nobody with any real common sense would believe that, because it's literally not true.
So I'm happy that I'm out of the crap, you know. It would have been something if ideas were being come up with that were working, that it would have been stuff that I could have worked on.
Look, you could actually kind of see the shame in it, because he's basically like, yeah, if I could have slaved them out for better ideas where I could do even less and they continue to do the heavy lifting and I can, you know, just keep coasting, it'd have been cool. But they didn't do that. They failed me there.
But also have maintained what I was doing. But it was kind of like an all or nothing battle. It was like, listen, either you go all in with drama and you abandon everything you've done for the last 17 years and you just become this LOLCOW on the internet, but you can bank your LOLCOW status and become rich, or you give up completely on the drama stuff and you just do what you've been doing. I choose to do what I've been doing. I think
so. You continue to keep failing, and now in our current timeline, he's fucked up in all kinds of ways. Here, I need to bring that part back though, where you I want you to pay attention if you can, and meaning that if you can actually watch it. If you're listening to it in the background, you just listen to it in the background. But watch his mannerisms when he talks about how and why he snaked Kino Casino. That's really, really telling.
Okay, so for me to be involved with that, go on LOLCOW Live, be a part of their show. Why did you snake the casino?
Right,
why did you leave them? Because it wasn't working. Get it? It just wasn't. It was actually starting to become more of a detriment than a help. And I've actually been doing better being out of it now than I was before. So I'm happy that I'm out of the crap, you know. It would have been something if ideas were being come up with that were working, that it would have been stuff that I could have worked on, but also have maintained what I was doing. But it was kind of like an all or nothing battle. It was like, listen.
That's hilarious. His mannerisms there were really, really telling. And there's stuff that he can't control. So, like, you can kind of tell in some ways he feels bad. It's not just the money. I'm not saying he has any sympathy, so let's not go there with that. But it's very clear that he believed that there might have been some real camaraderie there. And I think he wanted it to be real. I think more than anything, he wanted it to be real. But at the same time, he knew that they weren't really being genuine. But DSP never cared about reality. He cares about how he could perceive it and how it's digestible for him. And that's what really got him. He basically tried to cut them loose before they did it to him. Because DSP has always had a problem with rejection. Always. That was very, very telling. Oh, that's good stuff. I'm going to have to remember this. That's some very, very good stuff.
Either you go all in with drama and you abandon everything you've done for the last 17 years and you just become this LOLCOW on the internet, but you can bank your LOLCOW status and become rich, or you give up completely on the drama stuff and you just do what you've been doing.
No one's becoming rich off this. But that right there is a direct nod to Keemstar and all of his millions, even though he didn't really make his millions off of drama content, but semantics.
I choose to do what I've been doing. I think it's more positive. I think it's better content for the internet. I think it hurts less people. Honestly, I don't think my content hurts any people. Right? I don't think so. This content that I make now, just chilling with you guys and talking about games and stuff, this doesn't hurt anyone.
Yeah, but you don't look at those people as people. They're just NPCs to you. They're dense. There's a difference.
This is innocent, fun content that is digestible and, you know, it's not harmful in any way.
Mm-hmm.
So I would much rather do that than have to live with myself knowing every day I'm doing this content that I'm bullying other people on the internet and I'm talking shit and I'm insulting and harassing and going.
But you didn't mind doing that you didn't mind doing that shit to RTU. And then you didn't mind using RTU to go back and do that against Keto Casino. Okay. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Out of my way and punching at people to try to get.
He didn't mind going out of his way, wasting Keemstar's time to try to talk to him. He didn't mind doing that. He didn't mind lying on Boogie and Wings, saying, oh, well, they never told me about that, or they didn't go into detail, or they were incredibly vague, and they really weren't. You see how he treats these people? And don't be wrong, I understand they're all LOLCOWs or whatever, but it's real interesting how if you can't treat just these genuine entities around you properly, how are you going to be able to treat decent people well? How can they ever believe you or trust you? And they can't, and he knows that. And that bothers him more than anything. Because he thinks he's so goddamn smart. He thinks he's so goddamn cunning that he can get over on anybody if he can just isolate them and be able to talk to them for a period of time. And that's just not how the world works. You can do that with your little pedophile Derek. You can do that with your little, you know what I'm saying, your little wheelchair Jimmy, fucking Jaden and shit. You can do it with whatever dent that's willing to go into bankruptcy for the third or fourth time to give you money so you can have your next WWE champion pool. But for regular people, that doesn't work.
Get attention for myself. I just don't want to live that lifestyle. And you know what? I will say this. For as much shit as people talk about Ethan Ralph 100% understood that.
We're bigging up Ethan Ralph now. Oh boy, this should be interesting.
Got me as a person and essentially has, after the wrestling thing, said that's why I'm not going to talk to Phil because he's drama stuff and I'm not.
That's not actually the case. For one thing, Ethan was able to evaluate, because he kept up with Kino Casino and he saw how all that went down. He was able to evaluate that you're not useful. You're not. You're a figurehead, if you will. You're a flag bearer at best. Like, you don't have really anything to say of any value. You prove that in your interactions with COG. So Ethan was just able to sum up that, you know what? There ain't no real money here. There ain't no real value here. You're just not really worth his time. He may have said that in a way that was digestible for you, but that's really what that came down to.
He got that. Like, very well, he could have been like, hey, let's keep doing stuff together or whatever. But he knows 100%, I want nothing to do with this shit. I just want to do game stuff. So in that regard, I mean, he respected that wish, while others seem to want to keep pulling me into their sphere and their vortex or whatever you want to call it for their own personal gain. Okay, just get rid of a couple moron trolls here.
Favorite pastime?
Okay. Mozzie did a $2 super chat. When you address drama, do you think you're engaging? What are you talking about? Am I engaging the drama? It depends. Like, right.
How are you going to sit there and repeat the question, then ask them what they mean, and then answer the question in the way it was meant? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really taxing. It's really taxing. Oh my God. And it's funny too, because he makes it sound like he's this free thinker who can't be influenced, and he's literally influenced by everything. You know what I'm saying? But he's so, I guess you could say he's so much of a control junkie that he's literally taking questions and flipping it as if he came to the epiphany of the question himself. And then he just dictates it back to you. Because DSP never really talks to you. He talks at you. And there's a difference.
Right now, the way that I'm doing it is very factual and very calm, if you haven't noticed. Like I said, listen, the guys from LOLCOW Live, they can do whatever they want. I don't care. They can talk shit about me. They can bring me up. I don't give a shit. I'm not involved in it. And you know that. Like, I'm not going to get involved in it at all. I have nothing to do with it. They have the right to do. They have question marks all over their thumbnail. I guarantee you it's going to be a what if.
That thumbnail is really bothering him. He is really, really hyper fixated on that thumbnail.
Episode or whatever. And that's fine. Let them do that. I'm not going to stand here. What would have been the wrong way to go about it is to be like, I'm so upset. How dare they? Fuck them. And you start a feud, right? But that's not me. That's not me. I don't care. Let them do what they want. Leave me alone. It's that simple. Okay? Oh, let's see. I got a $5 tip. What has been your top game so far this year? That's a tough question. There's been some pretty darn good games, mostly games no one expected to actually be good, that actually ended up being quite good. Again, for me to answer the question, what I would have to do is go through like my games history here.
Can't even remember the games that he's played so far. That's amazing. But he's so passionate about this shit. This is his life. This is his business. This is his hobby that he was able to turn into a career. Can't even remember the games that he's played this year so far. That's wild.
So,
literal
take a look at what I've played.
Thank God.
Oh, I got another $2 tip. Wow. Thank you, guys. I feel like we're in the third phase of your detractors. The first phase was people calling out your behavior and wanting you to change, saying you were stubborn and taking things for granted.
And he treated people like shit. Let's not forget that.
I agree there. Then you did change. In the second phase, people came along and it was about WWE champions trying to get.
When did he change? That's not what happened. All right, well, whatever. We completely lied about that.
You to admit that kind of stuff. And then they happened. Then that did eventually happen. And then those people kind of now left. Now you're in phase 3. It's all the grifters.
Well, according to him, the grifters are always around anyway. And he's never really made it out of phase 2. Theoretically, he hasn't made it out of phase 1 yet. You know what I'm saying? To be honest. I mean, I would say, like, detractordom in itself is definitely in its adolescence. But he never changed. If anything, detractors themselves and the concept of detracting has changed as he was forced, as he reacted to what was going on around him. But he didn't actually change, or he didn't change in a meaningful sort of way, I should say. I think he's become more resentful. He's become more malicious. And where we're at right now, which is a really fascinating aspect that I definitely wouldn't mind bringing people on and getting an idea of what their perspective is on that, is that DSP is in the phase now where he's damn near scorched earth, where it's like, okay, I've got this dedicated group of dents and NPCs and drones that will literally follow me to the ends of fucking Galtopia and whatnot. So I'm gonna scorch earth all my content and make it as boring and as fucking useless as possible and hope that people will drop off. Then, in his belief system, if that does work, then he can come back and start being, I guess, old edgy Phil again, I guess, or whatever the fuck. He thinks that he'll be able to garner everything back and some, and that's not going to work. So if you guys really look at it from the big picture, right? If we're looking in the long term, the gamble that he's taking, which he's been doing for a number of years, it's probably the biggest gamble that he's ever taken. It's one of the reasons why the audience has dropped off. It's the reason why there's only like 2 or 3 pay pigs, maybe as many whales, minus, and I'm already subtracting all their sock accounts and shit. He's taken a huge gamble on dumbing down the content. And I think initially he tried to do it to, basically offset, this is how you don't play. Then he just got lazy and he just started doing it over everything. And he thought if he could snuff the fire out and whatnot, deprive it of oxygen, if you will, he could beat it that way. And it's not working. It's just not working. So he's looking for all these different avenues for collaborations to catch a buzz, to get a rub, whatever the case may be, because he's already basically stomped out his own fire, or at least a fire that he could control.
Each phase, the detractors who stayed get more and more obsessed because the people who got what they wanted left. Yeah, this is 100% we're in the grifter phase.
I wouldn't say that's true at all about the detractors who stuck around and become more and more obsessed. They just know more and more about him. That's all. If you really want to start getting into obsession shit, if it was really that way, they'd have brought the fight to his doorstep. And there's nobody, well, there's one person doing it, but there's nobody really doing that. It's not to that level. It doesn't need to be. No one needs to go out there on Twitter and lie about DSP and then essentially harass some random ass person and shit to be like, hey, I'm doing this to get a reaction out of DSP. You're going to have to just take this until I get what I want. No one's advocating for that shit. There's some people sweeping for it, but there's nobody advocating to do that. Nor is there anybody inspiring to continue doing it themselves. That literally falls down to one person or a small group of people. A very small group at that. No one's looking to do that.
100%. I legit don't think there's a single person out there who actually has issue with my content or what I do. I'm serious.
And what he's really trying to say is there's nobody in basically who does detracting stuff who legitimately cares about him. But that right there is a direct contradiction, ladies and gentlemen, because if that's not true, then where are all these supposed people coming from that have all this troll remorse and who say themselves that they were detractors and they did it for years, or they watched detractor content and they did it for years and now they feel bad? Where are all those people then if that's the case? That's why every time he tries to say, these people don't care about me, they're not this, that, and the third, I can immediately go back to that supposed troll remorse that all these supposed people have, and I know it's bullshit. Womp womp.
I think it's just the meme is to crap on Phil, to say he sucks at games, to say he's a beggar.
You're both of those things in spades, by the way.
To say this and that, so that we basically have content to print money from morons who watch it. It's 100% grift. Like I said, if this was not...
It's funny how grift wasn't even in his fucking vocabulary until Kino Casino came along. I gotta tell you, it's amazing what they taught him in that very short... Well, it wasn't short, it was like 8 months. But it's amazing what he picked up in those 8 months of time, I gotta tell you. Nothing particularly useful, though. Like, not how to be a better entertainer, not how to think outside the box. None of those things. He picked up a bunch of buzzwords. And most of the time, he's not even using them properly. Imagine that.
Monetizable, they would not be doing it.
And that's literally not true, because people were doing this when they weren't monetized, and there are people now that are still not monetized. So what's his excuse now? But it don't matter what the excuse is, because clearly he has one. And two, he'll just use that to push the goalpost back. That's ironic, because doesn't he accuse us of doing that? Huh. It sounds like projection, I guess.
If there was not $1 to be made, they would not be wasting their time on it. They're only doing it because they're benefiting from very, very slow, ignorant, gullible people. And they know it.
Yeah, I'm sure you know it too. I mean, being that you've literally, and very accurately, by the way, described your own audience. That's pretty good, Phil. And I love that, by the way, when DSP does that, just like how he takes shots at his wife about her weight. It's very clear that you're resentful of those people. It's very clear that you're mad that your fucking wife slash soulmate, in air quotes, is literally getting up into death fat status. It's very clear that you're very pissed off that your audience are not people that you can respect or really appreciate. They're just drones and idiots who fall for the same lie over and over and over again, right? With no real differential between any of it, and they just go along with it because they love you, Phil. You're great, Phil. You know that doesn't have any real advantage for you. And then on top of that, none of them can articulate themselves well enough to go on Twitter or X or whatever the fuck and actually fight for you. You know what I'm saying? You know that too. And that right there is probably the most hurtful thing about DSP's audience to DSP, is none of these guys are articulate enough or even just have the drive to go out there and fucking try to fight for him and actually prove their worth to their gouty lord and savior. Because back in the day, DSP had people who were willing to fight for him. And for all intents and purposes, and to various degrees, they were able to do that decently well. I wouldn't say they won, but they did it decently well, I suppose. All of those people are gone. He's either fucked those people over, he's betrayed them, or they got tired and they left.
100% know that's their viewer base. They don't care. They say, hey, a fool and their money are easily parted. So if I make fake content about someone, as long as people eat it up and pay me for it, I'll just keep doing it. I don't even care if it's true or not. And in reality, what I think it is that a lot of people have seen me do this now. You know, I've been making content for 17 years. I've been doing this as a job since 2011. So that's been 14 years. And they've seen me go through so much. They've seen me go through phase after phase of negativity. And you know what I'm saying? They have. So what they see now is a guy who's resilient.
He's bought into his own, into the fucking meme about the pig road shit. He's bought into his own false invincibility. Oh, that's amazing. Resilient. Yeah, you were resilient, suckling on fucking Triple P's tit for 8 months. That's resilient. Gotcha. Wow, bro. You had fell for the marketing scheme. He literally just fell for the marketing scheme. That's amazing.
A guy who literally is not going to let himself be beaten by any of this shit. So the way they think of it is, well, even if I bully Phil and
the fact that you're addressing it now is already proven you've been beaten. If you're really above all of it, if you're all about putting out really good content, meaningful content at that, you wouldn't even address this. You would just keep it pushing. But you clearly don't have shit else to talk about. And it's the only thing that makes you feel better. Because in the reality, you're not going to want to actually talk to any of these people and actually figure out what's what, because you're just going to concede to it anyway. And then you're going to try to make yourself seem like the victim. We already saw this. If Broside Phil had more time in that Steve conversation, Truth Seekers, if he had more time with it, I honestly feel this way, that Broside Phil could have had fucking DSP concede that, you know what, okay, a lot of the things that you guys say is true and whatnot, this, that, and the third, but I think you take a lot of the stuff I do out of context. I honestly think it could have gone that way, to be honest.
I make all this shit up about him.
Steve needs to work on that bad cop part, though. Steve's bad cop is it's assertive and it's aggressive, and yet but he don't know how to pull back. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a little too assertive. You got to give DSP space so he can snort, and before you pounce back on him. Because if he really thinks that he doesn't have any ground that he can possibly gain, or any ground that he can possibly fight for, he'll just clam up and turn to stone. So you know what I'm saying? You have to give DSP think of it this way. You have to give DSP the hope that he can win you over. You know what I'm saying? If you just keep throwing information at him constantly like that, he's just gonna accept his loss and just turn to stone, which is basically what he did.
He's not going to take any action against it.
Because remember, DSP thinks he's the smartest person in the room. So he believes that if you would just give him enough time to spew his bullshit, right, that he can win you over. Now, don't be wrong. I'm very much one of those people that you need to cut down on that shit. You got to limit that shit, I should say, as much as you can. But you gotta learn how to give him enough breathing room for him to keep that hope. And then you just take it away from him again. You tear it down from him. You tear him down as needed. Because if not, like I said, he'll just clam up and turn to stone.
And he's not going to be hurt by it because he's so resilient, nothing's ever going to happen to him. Right?
Okay.
That's what they think.
I don't think that at all. It's a meme, but you know what I'm saying? No one thinks that.
That's all I'm going to say.
Wow.
That's what they think.
Wow.
Anyway, Mozzie, how you doing?
Really
$2 super chat. You literally are a good gamer. It's all about the money. Well, yeah, now the only way that they
Wait, what? All right, Mozzie, you're a fucking idiot, but all right.
Can make me look bad at games is to literally take one clip out of context, out of an entire playthrough, and act like that's representative of.
If he's talking about that Doom playthrough, that whole thing it was complete and utter garbage. It was complete trash, to be honest. And truth be told, he needs to go back to that back to Mario Kart World. That shit was hilarious.
The entire playthrough, right? It's take my Doom, the Dark Ages playthrough, and only take the moment where you're in a room full of explosive barrels.
He had fucked up before that. It was just that room in particular, or that part of it, was just it defies logic, and that's the reason why it caught on as quickly as it did. Just like when he was like the Zelda clip that got really big over there on TikTok and I think on Instagram too, where he's out there in a lightning storm with a metal vest and shit. And he's wondering why he got struck. Like shit like that, bro. Like something that's just kind of like mind-numbingly, like, huh? Like how did you not know better?
And act like that's the entire playthrough, even though that's the one moment you can't play the game like crazy adrenaline-filled Doom, because if you do, the barrels explode and you instantly die.
And yet everybody else got past it without having to camp like a bitch. But all right, do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do, King.
But say that's my whole playthrough, right? Take the one clip from Donkey Kong Bonanza where I've had difficulty, which was me trying to surf on a piece of ground over this challenging area where you have to jump over thorns and stuff. I failed at it for like 10 minutes. So take that one clip, even though the insane rest of the game I've just been coasting through. Not a lick of challenge. Everything's been insanely piss easy. And I've been saying the entire playthrough, this game's just way too easy. I think it should be harder. Take the one moment where I had difficulty, make it a meme, and say, oh, that was his whole playthrough. See, he sucks. But it's not fair. It's not a fair representation. That's not true at all. You've literally misrepresented on purpose.
What he's doing is he's just mad that no one will go back and actually watch the playthrough. So he's mad that the clip goes quote unquote viral, but he doesn't get the residuals from everything else. That's pretty funny. Pretty sad too, but that's pretty funny.
To create the meme.
You know, maybe if him or one of the dents in his audience actually made the clip themselves, well, he still wouldn't benefit, to be honest. Because like when it comes to YouTube Shorts, that thing would have to get, Jesus, tens of millions of views, I guess, for it to make it worthwhile. So it is what it is.
They don't care. They benefit from it. They get views, they profit. So why do they care? And they know that DSP is resilient and can't be hurt by this shit. You know, I'm made of fucking titanium here.
Sure you are.
And nothing's going to bring me down. So why do they, you know what I mean? Like, well, who cares? Just keep making fun of him. It just always works, right?
I mean, just because you smack on your pork belly don't mean it's like titanium, bro. Not even close. Holy shit. And like I said, the whole thing about the resilience thing, like Phil, I'll tell you right now, man. You like say you could literally kill over tomorrow and I don't give a shit. So I don't have to value your self-worth, let alone your well-being, because you don't give a shit about anybody else. So let's not act like any of that means anything in the grand scheme of things. And the fact that you want people, let's reword that. The fact that you're dependent on people to care about you in itself is already sick. You say that, hey, we're not friends, you don't know any of these people, so on and so forth. You're just here to play games and have a good time, and that's it. But then you start getting in this parasocial bullshit where, oh well, these people don't care about me. They don't care about my well-being. Who the fuck well-being do you care about? Who are you worried about? Where is your concerns lie? It's not with your family. It's not with your fucking wife. It's not with your fucking cat. It's not with your parents. You don't give a fuck about the rest of your extended family. So who the fuck do you really give a shit about, bruh? Like, how do you expect mercy when you've never shown it to anybody yourself?
Huh. What's going on, Cracker Jacks? How are you today? Good to see you. All right. Oh, type in chat. You guys can't tag me on the kick chat. Sorry about that. I wonder how long it takes to fix that. Princess Luna did a $10 super chat and says, over a decade of doing it his way, through all the drama, mockery, and hate that would have felted most, Phil gets up and streams twice a day, being unapologetically Phil despite the detractors. Thank you, Princess Luna. Yeah, not even despite, just ignorant of it. I don't care about it.
That's not true. That's if he did, he wouldn't have spent all this time talking about it. But the reality is he doesn't have a choice. He doesn't have any options. He doesn't have any other prospects. Now, is gaming dying, or is streaming dying, or content creating dying? Content creation dying? No, but it's definitely slowing up. And DSP, believe it or not, missed out on all of the big money. Like right now, for example, and I'll try to keep it brief. The big talk about is the big talking point, I should say, is view bots, especially when it comes to streaming, especially when it comes to Twitch and Kick respectfully. If you really think about it, for all the time that DSP was on Twitch, at the very least, he didn't make any of the big money at all. He didn't make millions of dollars over there like other people did. Yeah, he had pulled $100,000 at the very least out of it, but he never really got into any of the big money. You know what I'm saying? He made enough money to leave him content. And now that money's drying up. And yet it's still better than what he's doing now on YouTube. And probably Twitch, not Twitch, Kick. Now that I think about it. Just to put that in perspective.
And that's the truth. Like, if I actually, spent time looking this stuff up and addressing it, there's no point. Because it's all fake anyway. There's no point in addressing the nonsense. You just do your thing. Like, that's the funny part. These idiots who say, I would never want to be Phil. Why?
What do you mean, why? I can think of a shitload of reasons why. One, you're in terrible shape on top of the gout and everything else that's wrong with you. You can never really have prospects at a real job or a career outside of online, not to say that you have one now. Given all the dumb shit you've done, you don't have a person in this fucking world that really loves you or gives a shit about you. You're a burden on everybody. You can't defend yourself. Can't defend anybody else around you. Like, you're relatively useless. You know what I'm saying? And you always have been. Every community that he's ever been part of has either pushed him out, ran his ass out, or he's been shunned out in some type of way, shape, or form. Doesn't got a friend in the world. Not a one. He's got no one that he can go ahead and pick up the phone right now and talk to about anything. He doesn't have that. And you would think, oh, well, couldn't he call his parents, this, that, and the third? They're just going through the motions with the shit. And we already know that fucking cat don't want to deal with his bullshit. And he doesn't have any other real friends. He's so disconnected from any of them, if he was ever friends with them at all. Or if they've seen all the bullshit that's about him online. There's a multitude of reasons not to want to be Phil. At all. Like, Phil Burnell is the furthest thing that you would want to be like or want to inspire to have or even be jealous of. I never really understood that part, but I'm not going to criticize anybody on that. But he's the last person to be jealous of. And you can't even really say, oh, well, they're jealous of, people are jealous of what he does. What does he do exactly? He begs online. He begs for money online. And actually, it's even more pathetic than that because he has to beg for DSP Tries It. So now we're begging for food. We're legitimately begging for food. Who should envy that? Jesus Christ, there are people on the street that have more pride than that. At least self-dignity, I should say. Like, you know what I'm saying? A person can be a bum for 10 years, 15 years, clean themselves up, you know what I'm saying? Go through rehab, get some therapy and whatever, and still make something of themselves. DSP can't do shit. If all of this shit ends tomorrow, DSP goes back home. He goes back to Connecticut, and then he gets whatever fucking job he can. And that's how he lives the rest of his existence. What did Medicare say? Either stocking shelves, pumping gas, or it was something else. Like whatever he can get. Whatever he can get, like, that's entry level. On top of him having to take care of his parents when they really, really start to get sick and they're going to need help. The guy has nothing when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. Why the fuck would you want to be like that?
I have a great job that I absolutely love. I have great streams every single day that are great content with a great audience. That audience supports me, so I make a great living. I have a loving wife who I love and cherish, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And
If you were making such a great living, why did you need Kino Casino to buy all the bullshit that's around you now? Why couldn't you afford all the stuff that was around you before Kino Casino? On top of that, he even admitted that before Kino Casino showed up, he could barely fucking pay for games. He could barely buy things that he needed if something broke or this, that, and third. And he said Kino Casino changed all that for him. And all of that is slipping away through his hooves right now. So how good is it really? How financially secure is he really? If Kat gets sick tomorrow, if Jasper gets sick tomorrow, is he going to have money for long-term treatment if either one of them or both needed it? If Kat ends up getting, and God forbid this happens, but if Kat gets into a really bad spot and she's in the hospital for a month or more, is he going to be able to handle that situation? Would he be able to take care of himself while dealing with that? The streaming schedule changes. He's got to go to the hospital and see her. He has to be there for her. That's your wife. That's your soulmate. She's expecting you to be by her side. That means less time streaming. That means also she's going to have to go through therapy. She's going to have to get on new medications and stuff like that. You got to pay for all that. Insurance will cover some of it, but you're going to have to cover the rest. Your whole fucking life changes. And then when she comes home, now everything is completely and utterly revolved around her. Now your streaming thing, which is your job, your main occupation, is kind of secondary. You can't stream if you don't have her situated. These are real adult type concerns, especially getting up into his age. And given his wife's condition, given her shape, is he thinking about any of that? No. He's worried about the next attractor he can flex on. He's worried about next time he can make fun of duty or some bullshit on the next stream. There's real world shit to think about. And he don't have a fucking plan for none of it. So we'll see how important it is to sit there and fucking bitch and complain about people obsessed with me when you get seriously hurt and you can't talk. Or Kat gets seriously hurt and she in the hospital for months on end. Then we'll see how put together he is then when that happens.
I'm happy with. I live in a great house. I have a great pet. I live in a great weather. I can now afford whatever I need, right? Why wouldn't you want to be me? Because people make fun of you on the internet.
Wow.
Oh no, not people on the internet. Oh, who gives a fuck what these morons say on the internet?
What a coat. What a coat. That's special.
Phil, don't you know there's another thing going viral on social media? What the fuck do I care?
Didn't you just bitch and complain about how they take one clip and that right there is a representation of your content? And you said that's unfair? Okay, I guess we forgot our own narrative. No problem. That dementia is coming in. It's coming in rather nicely.
I'm sitting here making a great living, having a great time. What the fuck do I care about a bunch of morons on the internet? They're the ones who are sitting there grinding away at meaningless jobs, shitty situations. Why do you think they need?
If everybody has a shitty job and shitty situation, then how do they have time to do all this if they're supposedly obsessing about you and making content on you 24/7? He never was able to answer that question. All right, I guess time management is not a thing.
To make the memes and laugh at them because it makes them feel better about themselves and their own miserable existences.
That's legitimately projection because you said that exact same thing about the FGC. And you said it about other content creators. And you said it's healthy to do that because jealousy is a natural thing. Even though I can't think of anybody who's actually jealous of you. Or at least nobody that I directly talk to anyway.
I don't sit around making fun of people all day. I don't have.
That's literally not true, but all right.
Have to because I have a good life. Get it? Who gives a shit about the internet?
So you have a good life. You don't need to make fun of people yet. What was that thing with Review Tech USA again? What was that situation? What was that situation about Pro Jared when you thought he was down bad and you could get away with that shit? Let's go even further. What about when what happened when Machinima finally ended up fucking bottoming out? And you said that all those people deserve to lose their jobs because of what happened to you. What about that? What about Oh, what about Blip.tv when they finally went under, and you went online showing your ass talking about they deserve what happened because they didn't give you another chance because of trolls and this, that, and the third. All those people who don't probably didn't even know who you are, who lost their jobs, and you sat there and talked that hot shit. Now, when he said it about Blip, there were people who came and called his ass out. When he said that shit about Machinima, though, that shit is really what got his ass into a tizzy, and I'm pretty sure he ended up deleting those tweets and whatnot. He didn't show his entire ass with that nonsense. Look at how that played out. But we have a happy life, though, and this, that, and third. What about when he got into that bitch fit over State of Decay 2 and started calling all those people fake gamers? They don't deserve all the advantages they have. You know, he had that whole spiel on Twitter. And then all those reviewers and stuff like that, people who get early copies, rose up on his ass because he's not even part of their community, let alone anything else. And they decided to rise up on his ass, and they went ahead and took his ass to task. And then he had to walk that shit back. He apologized. I think he deleted those tweets too, like a true coward. What about all that? But we live such a good life, and we don't need to tear people down or do anything like that. Okay. And then all this nonsense with Low Tier God, all these shots about the FGC, how they're stupid, they're idiots, they don't know what's good for them, but DSP knows, but none of them know. What about all that? Don't worry, I'll wait.
You'd have to be dumb.
Coke sip.
Oh.
I like how he's actually offended, though, that no one wants to be him. I really like that. It's fascinating.
Oh my goodness.
Mommy's little piglet.
All right, guys. Well, fun podcast. I thought that it would end up being shorter, but as usual, we end up talking about stuff that I didn't expect to be talking about. This LOLCOW live thing and people saying nonsense about, oh, they know that there's strikes and stuff. They don't know anything. They make it all up. Nonsense. But it ended up going into the second half of the show, so we had a full show. Let's end the show. Thank you for watching. There is no podcast tomorrow. None. Okay? Tomorrow.
And that bullshit. Let me speak on that. So when he says there's no podcast, he says that there's going to be a half-hour, 45-minute chill fest to basically drum people in, and then they can start the game. It's literally a podcast. You basically come in, and he himself doesn't have anything pre-prepared, or he doesn't have any particular talking points, so it's not a podcast. So it's him literally sitting there for 35, 40 minutes, basically looking at the chat, waiting for you guys to give him money until he hits a certain amount, and then he's willing to start playing the game. It's basically a copy and paste of what Low Tier God does, except for LTG is way more front-facing about it and saying, hey, it's $50 to turn on the camera or whatever the fuck, or it's X amount of dollars to start the game, whatever the fuck. It's literally what Low Tier God does. And that's the only reason why I think he started doing it.
We're going to focus on making big progress, trying out Tony Hawk 3 and 4. We're going to give it a lot of gameplay tomorrow. Probably, without the podcast, it's probably about 3.5 to 4 hours of gameplay. I'm curious to see if it will work.
Which doesn't make any sense because he should be providing 3 or 4 hours, well, 4 hours at the very least, a gameplay anyway, which goes back to what I've been saying for the last couple of years. He's purposely been trying to extend the quote-unquote podcast so he can game less during the day stream. And he's basically admitting it right here. And when a new release comes out, oh yeah, guys, it's going to be exciting. You're guaranteed 4 hours of guaranteed gameplay. So when a new release is happening, you can go ahead and have your bottom bitch podcast to its full extent, and you're guaranteed 4 fucking hours. But in a game that he's just kind of get through, he's purposely extending the fucking podcast, and maybe you'll get 3.5 hours worth. And not even that, because if you factor all his breaks and everything, that 3.5 hours turns into like 2 hours, 2.5 hours if you cut out the begging segments as well, let alone the unrecorded shit. Something to think about.
I don't know if it will. 1 and 2, I think worked because number 1, it was the first time I'd ever played those games and people were saying those were the best ones in the franchise. But even then, that game, after playing a few streams, it kind of started to wane in popularity. People got bored. I'm not convinced that Tony Hawk 3 and 4 is going to last more than a few streams, but we're going to give it a shot starting tomorrow. I hope that you'll come and hang out with me. No podcast, just a lot of gameplay. The podcast will return on Wednesday for weekending fun. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you so very much. I hope that you enjoyed the show. and I will see you all on Wednesday for a week-ending episode. Peace out, and I will see you all then.
Wow, look at that shit. Look at that shit. Does that look healthy to you? Like he dying slow, man. Like the last 15 years on the internet, at least with this header, I should say, it didn't do you any favors. You progressively gotten worse. You were a piece of shit before, and you're a massive piece of shit now. All the alcoholism, all the fucking gambling addictions and shit, the spending addictions, you cutting people off out of your life and shit. It only made you worse. Jesus, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Okay. So we are about to get started, but before we do, I want to use the restroom, and then we got to set everything up. So just give me a sec. I'm not even going to run clips here because it's only going to be like a minute. I'm going to go use the restroom, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to get set up here for more Donkey Kong Bonanza. What I have to do is swap over to the Switch.
So let's jump right into the.
Okay, and I'll make sure I get timestamps on this. Okay, so this is LOLCOW Live going over. Basically, I'm pretty sure they went over DSP's response, or they're at least talking about the situation with the copyright strike. Well, the alleged copyright strike that DSP may have.
This DSP unexpectedly couldn't stream last week. Okay, so this is what happened with that. Let me turn the volume up.
And thank you for a great week. Again, unexpectedly last week, I couldn't stream out of nowhere. It was a bad time. All right. And
so apparently,
and this is kind of funny because this is not even this isn't even the actual roster anymore. So the guy you see that would be on your bottom left, that's a CD-ROM. He's gone. He got ousted for being a pedo defender and whatnot. So that's a mess in itself. Wings is back in pocket, but now but there's actually an inner conflict between Wings and Keem and Boogie, because Boogie and Keem are mad at Jay Hoof over the confirmed pedophile that's in his Discord and whatnot, and who's maybe like a whale for him too, now that we think about it. And Wings is like, yeah, I think what he's doing is wrong, but I like Jay, so I'm not going to dogpile on him. So there's that. Every time Keem tries to go and say, you can't ignore this, you can't let this happen, people bring up the situation with pedo behind the camera. And Keem's only response is, well, he put a ring on it. He pumps some kids into her. You know, the statute of limitations is over. So you're okay with overlooking that, but you want to jump on these other two guys. And don't be wrong, you should jump on all those guys. They need to get it just as much as you need to get it. But you're not absolved, or you're not exempt from what they're doing. You did the exact same thing. So you're right there with them. But anyway, that's another story for another day. But that's what our current situation is. Let's go ahead and jump back to the past.
This is what started the allegations that he had a strike on his channel. All right. Let's see.
Germany.
So 15 minutes. He doesn't know what's going on with the strike. Okay, maybe he did get a strike. I don't know.
Oh, another thing about CD-ROM that's kind of interesting. Because the guy he's defending, I think he plays Roadblocks. And they found out that CD-ROM is actually in like a Roadblocks commercial of some type. And whatever. So that's a whole nother thing. And then if you guys also been keeping up with Roadblocks, they had like a whole scandal and shit where they had some popular servers that found out there was a bunch of grooming and pedophiles and all that shit. Yada, 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 yada. So CD-ROM with this guy he's defending may be linked into that. So people are starting to dig shit on that up. And then CD-ROM's response isn't very good, just like Jay's response isn't very good. It's icky. It's really fucking icky. Ew, it's disgusting. And now people have discovered stuff about lollies, so now they got to explain that shit. And you guys were following Raven, you guys may remember how that worked out. So yeah, that's a whole thing, bro. That's a whole thing.
At K-Wolf super chatted $20. I think CD looks great. Keem, you don't know what you're talking about, lol.
Well,
Thank you, KB.
okay. Well, KB,
Oh.
you want to go on a date with him?
Yes, please.
Do you want to go on a date with him? You're a good girl. We all know you. You're a good girl. You want to go on a date with him?
You got her ID, Keem. You got an age on that? Just saying, because you got confirmed underage people in your Discord too, or at least alleged. So you know, make sure everybody's getting ID'd and shit.
Let us know. Anyhow,
I'm not into chatting, but I like watching your content. Do you have a favorite movie adaptation from a game?
man,
A movie adaptation of a game. I mean, we've only just recently started to see that come out and not be bad, right? Understand, like, bait content? Seriously, do not understand bait content.
oh, here we go.
Can I even make that face?
Okay, he's responding to this. Okay, here we go.
I don't think my mouth opens that much. It's obvious AI thumbnail, right? So, DSP got a strike, and I'm helping him. Do you not see all the question marks? You see these question marks? Whenever you see a question mark like this, it means it's bait. It means all they're going to do on the show is they're going to talk about it. I'm looking at the wrong camera. They're going to talk about it and say, hey, did it happen? Instead of saying, hey, it happened, and here's all the evidence. And here, it's bait. It's a bait show. They basically have nothing to talk about tonight. So they're bringing up my name to have something to talk about. So why are they saying this?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. He's right.
He's right.
He's right.
The reason we're talking about this is because I wanted to, Phil. I was so excited to discuss you. And if you're in the right, we'll defend you. And if you're in the wrong, we'll shit talk you. And that's how it'll be. And in fact,
Well,
the more you complain about it, the
Phil.
more I want to do it.
There must be a
Officer
reason
Phil,
that this
Officer-
happened. Like, I mean, Keem wouldn't be talking about it if there was nothing to it.
That's literally not true, but all right. I bet someone apparently hasn't been paying attention.
Okay. I was going to do a bit. Officer Phil, you got us, but okay.
Oh, sorry, boss.
Like, what brought this on? Does anyone know?
Oh
Like,
my
why-
God. Wait. Hold on. The bait's working. The bait is working. Boogie, you heard what he said. What brought this on? Does anybody know? It's working. It's working.
It's working.
Yo, type 1 in the chat if anybody is interested to know what brought this on. I think the
Look
bait.
at all those fish.
I think the bait is working.
Are they saying that? Doody Stream says I have a channel strike. Well, we all know that everything that Doody Stream says is 100% factually confirmed and true. There's never been an instance ever where Doody Streams has done something that's false or said something that was untrue about. But do you see my point? My point is thus, I said this weeks ago, and I'll say it again. This weird vortex revolves around me. I don't create the vortex. I don't control the vortex. I want nothing to do with the vortex. I've disavowed it, right? I want nothing to do with any.
Somebody in Phil's chat said Keemstar has integrity. He wouldn't do that. Aww.
It's cute that you think that.
That's awesome. Thank you to whoever was in DSP's chat sticking up for me. Here's the deal, okay? With the community strike. Do I know if Phil has a community strike or not? No. Am I helping Phil with a community strike? No. So then what is this all about? It happened a couple days ago, back on July 25th on Twitter. This went viral. DSP claims he knows nothing about this. Any truth to any of this? I'm not watching LOLCOW live, sorry. All right. A person named Browser World said Keem said on LOLCOW Live he's going to help you with the community guidelines strike. He will address it and get it resolved. I did not say that. I didn't say any of that. I don't know what the fuck's going on in DSP land. I don't know if he's got a strike or if he doesn't have a strike. I haven't talked to DSP in fucking months. I don't know what any. All of a sudden, on the 25th, which was
Okay, wait a second. In months? So this was in what, late July? So you hadn't talked to him since what, beginning of the year? Are we talking about, were you talking to him right around the time that DSP broke away from Kino Casino? Sorry, I missed some of this. I had to step away from the computer for a second. But, well, about a minute. So I missed whatever the fuck they were doing. But like, you know what I'm saying? When's the last time you actually spoke to him? Was it like right after, or we're talking about like post Kino Casino arc? Post snaking? I'm just wondering. I mean, keep in mind, months could be 6 months, it could be a year, for all we know. But it does open up an interesting perspective, though. It makes me want to speculate.
Was 3 days ago, our people started coming into our Discord, asking me about it. Everyone's asking me about it on Twitter. I don't know where the fuck this rumor started. I have no involvement. None.
I will say that if you did get a strike, Keem would help you. That's a no-brainer. He's a good guy.
I believe
and
that.
then I'll also say that you suddenly couldn't stream. What kind of emergencies happen in the DSP world? Does Cat need to go to a buffet? Like what's happening? What the way DSP runs his show?
At Outsanity super chatted $20. Be careful, Keem or DSP will be holding hands with Becky on the bridge.
No, knowing DSP, the emergency could have been I got locked out of my WWE Champions account again.
That could be it.
DSP and Becky actually talk. I don't know if people know that.
Yeah, I knew that from Jump Street when he fucking dropped his DMs. But at the same time, though, too, like the prospects for Becky, like the upside for Becky made sense. I'll speak on that in a second.
But
jeez.
Oh yeah,
Really?
Oh yeah, they talk. Because Becky was trying to, when she worked here, was trying to get DSP to go on Queens. And then when she went off to go do her own thing, she was talking to DSP, trying to work something out. Like, they talk. They
were talking on two separate occasions. Now, the first part is actually the most pervasive. Because Becky was complaining a lot about the amount of money she was making over there in the LOLCOW universe. She wanted a bigger piece. She wanted ownership, actually. She wanted a percentage, like a real percentage of the business or whatever. If she could have gotten DSP to go over there on LOLCOW Queens, right, that proves to Keem, or she could prove that to Keem and say, hey, I can pull the guy that you can't. And then Keem would use her to get him onto LOLCOW Live. After the fallout, she reached out to pretty much anybody who either had already had a fallout with Keem or Keem wanted to get and couldn't get them on to see if they would come on to the BBU. Until fucking Mike or Pedal behind the camera and Keem ain't fucked all that up. And I've had my theories on why to screw her over because it don't make a whole lot of sense. But now I have a better idea of it. Becky, she was trying to line up some names that Keem really wanted to get onto his show, onto LOLCOW Live, and couldn't pull it. But and for whatever reason, Keem couldn't lock these people in. Well, Becky was looking like she probably could. And I'm not talking about just DSP. There's a few other people as well. If she could have locked that in, she would have far more leverage, as into the value, in air quotes, of what the BBU could actually bring to the LOLCOW universe. And I will also say that with her having that VTuber chick, she doesn't have them anymore. And as far as I know, that VTuber chick don't want to deal with Keem, so that's out. But with what Becky was trying to build, I could see some of the value, especially if she could get Big Lebrowski to sign on to her network and whatnot. I think she wanted him to do like one show a week, so 4 shows a month under her brand or under her umbrella. That brings a lot of value because Keem wants Lebrowski over there, but Lebrowski won't sign the deal, and I don't blame him because I wouldn't want to work for Keem too, but I didn't have to. So what Becky was trying to do kind of makes sense, but the fact that she gave it all away for $1,200 really kind of screams to, I guess, how mentally unstable she is and how easily she got played. But Keem and Mike wanted to basically break all that shit down, because the more codependent they can have Becky on them, the more they think they can control her, which isn't the case. She's just going to go back to bitching and complaining. So, and that's why I think they're purposely letting her be down bad. She's gone back to her tarot readings, this, that, and the third. Eventually she'll get picked back up. It's just a matter of, if they give her her own show, who are they going to put up there with her? They got to give her somebody. But Savage don't want to come back, and Roxy don't want to come back to the LCU. So now you got to get somebody who's already within that ecosystem to deal with her. And there really isn't anybody except for Wings. And if they have to pay Wings to go on 2 shows, or be like the permanent host of 2 shows, if you will, kind of like how Xylie's on like 2 or 3 shows or whatever the fuck she's doing. Wings is going to demand more money, and theoretically, if he has to deal with Becky, he would be in the right to do so. So anyway, that's a whole nother thing. I'll break that down for you guys another day. That's all just my not exactly a Theo theory.
They legitimately talk. I know it's a small world, but they do. But here's the thing. I have an open line of communication with DSP. We finally got over the fucking email bullshit, and he does DM me on Twitter from time to time, but I just haven't talked to him in months. I don't know where this rumor started, where he got a strike and I'm helping him with the strike. I haven't talked to DSP.
God, I cannot imagine a world where.
Interesting. So Duty has constant contact with fucking Wings of Redemption, but that should surprise anybody because fucking Duty's still cool with Rich and whatnot. So Duty and Wings have constant contact with each other. Wings has talked about this. Keem has contact with DSP, whether through DMs on Twitter or in Discord. Boogie somewhere is floating around in that mix, because I assume if Duty's talking to fucking Wings and he's talking to fucking Boogie, which means he's probably talking to Keem as well. Well, that might be interesting if someone don't fuck it all up.
Him and Becky talk about anything ever. Jesus Christ.
What would they possibly have to talk about?
I have a lot of things to say on that, but I won't. I have a lot of opinions, but I won't. Okay. Let's go to what happened with Becky recently. Obviously, for those of you that don't know the backstory, I met Becky when me and RTU were in a feud. We were over here on LOLCOW Live. Review Tech USA just gave up on his channel. All right. And a feud started back and forth because we were going over some of his controversies. And one of those controversies involved him like not taking care of his kids when his kids were upset and asking his parents to do it or something. Yep. Then he threatened us with a lawsuit and
that's the other thing too. I'm glad Diggs kept this in there. For one, as it pertains to the lawsuit that fucking Review Tech was going to do, that shit was stupid. And that's the reason why no lawyer was willing to touch it. So the fact that he keeps running around here saying, I had a case, no lawyer would give me the time of day, then it means you didn't have a case. That's what it means. You didn't have a case. But because you're stupid, Rich don't understand that.
Liar and this and that, and it got real fucking ugly.
And then it's funny how how Review Tech wanted to sue Keem, and then he ended up going over there and working for Keem. Fucking ridiculous.
Right? And at one point, Becky came on to expose RTU for dating for a while and never making a move.
A while, better part of a decade.
And that's how Becky got entered into this fucking world, if you will.
Yeah.
And it went back and forth to Rich looked like the bad guy. Rich looked like the good guy. You know, it went, Becky looked like the good one, then looked like the bad. It's been going back and forth ever since we've known both of them. And apparently, Rich is pretty happy with what's going on with Becky. And it is, oh, these are old clips. God, we don't need to go this far back. Okay.
With LOLCOW Live,
I believe this is Rich celebrating the new update of what went on.
if I could see how it's like, wait a second, am I really being fired?
The thing is, Keemstar.
Yeah, I'm gonna save you guys that. I'll just make another video on that shit because there's a bunch of compilations out there of Review Tech bitching about fucking LOLCOW. So some of them are kind of entertaining. Not that he's funny, but it's just kind of entertaining hearing a grown ass man cry and complain about an opportunity that he fucked up. It's pretty amazing.
Has access to talk to me whenever he wants. He can message me. I can message him. We have direct line of contact. It's not like it used to be where we were hard to reach each other and we were fucking with each other, acting like we couldn't reach each other. No, if we have something to talk about, we can talk to each other right now. He didn't reach out to me. So obviously, This isn't anything I even need to be involved in. This is just a bait episode. Okay, really, it's a 100% a bait episode, which is fine. Let them do it. I don't care. I'm not involved in it. Drama content, I don't see a spike in views, support, or anything from my audience. What I do see is a spike from other groups. The problem with that is once you get the attention of another group, you now have to maintain that or they go away. That's exactly what happened last year with Keno Casino. When I started doing content with them, I got the attention of their audience. Their audience started to come to my streams. They all subbed, right? They all supported for about 2 months. And then after that is I didn't want to do drama constantly. And I got into the hardcore gaming season and we were doing games and they were like, oh, this is just game stuff. We don't care about this. When's the drama? So every once in a while, I would do a little bit of drama. And then all of a sudden you see that video would get a big view boost and I get some more support and then it would go away again. So it's like 2 completely different sets of content. You understand? Like it's either drama content, LOLCOW style content, or it's gaming content, more intelligent content, positive social interaction. They're separate. They don't actually go together. They don't. Do you get it? They don't stick together. It's like oil and water. They separate. So you could either go with the oil or go with the water. Either one works. I want to go with what I've been doing. I don't want to do the drama stuff. Okay. So for me to be involved with that, go on LOLCOW Live, be a part of their show. Why did you snake the casino? Why did you leave them? Because it wasn't working. Get it? It just wasn't. It was actually starting to become more of a detriment than a help. And I've actually been doing better being out of it now than I was before. So I'm happy that I'm out of the crap. You know, it would have been something if ideas were being come up with that were working, that it would have been stuff that I could have worked on, but also have maintained what I was doing. But it was kind of like an all or nothing battle. It was like.
And what ideas did he bring to the table? Like, what did he have to contribute to that partnership? He didn't have anything. He was completely and utterly reliant on them. And then he came to the, I guess, you could say he came to the conclusion that he can do bad all on his own, and then he left. Or snaked them, whatever you want to call it.
Listen, either you go all in with drama and you abandon everything you've done for the last 17 years and you just become this LOLCOW on the internet, but you can bank your LOLCOW status and become rich.
And you're not going to become rich on any of this, to be honest. The fact that you've pulled your 3 million plus off of this is kind of amazing in its own right, but the fact that you have nothing to show for it makes it even more poetic, and it makes it really a cautionary tale on essentially what fast money is on the internet.
Or you give up completely on the drama stuff and you just do what you've been doing. I choose to do what I've been doing. I think it's more positive. I think it's better content for the internet. I think it hurts less people.
And yet the internet doesn't feel that way. So who's wrong in this situation?
Honestly, I don't think my content hurts any people. Right? I don't think so. This content that I make now, just chilling with you guys and talking about games and stuff, this doesn't hurt anyone. This is innocent, fun content that is digestible and, it's not harmful in any way. So I would much rather do that than have to live with myself knowing every day I'm doing this content that I'm bullying other people on the internet and I'm talking shit and I'm insulting and harassing and going out of my way and punching at people to try to get attention for myself. I just don't want to live that lifestyle. And you know what? I will say this. For as much shit as people talk about Ethan Ralph 100% understood that, got me as a person, and essentially has, after the wrestling thing, said that's why I'm not going to talk to Phil, because he's drama stuff and I'm not. He got that. Like, very well, he could have been like, hey, let's keep doing stuff together or whatever. But he knows 100% I want nothing to do with this shit. I just want to do game stuff. So in that regard, I mean, he respected that wish, while others seem to want to keep pulling me into their sphere and their vortex or whatever you want to call it for their own personal gain.
It's a pretty good moment at the end there with some of those key recaps. So big ups to Diggs on that. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much a wrap. LOLCOW Live didn't really bring much to the table. Yet again, they were just speculating. They didn't really have anything on the ball. They were going off what Duty said. None of that's really been proven yet, so that is what that is on that. Let's actually end this on a nightcap, I think. There we go. And let's go ahead and give you final thoughts and go ahead and get you guys out of here. So, yet again, no real confirmation just yet on why DSP was gone for a week. Yet again, that'll come out sooner than later. Don't even worry about that. DSP's reasoning for, another example, I should say, of DSP talking about why he had to snake the Kino Casino because what was going on wasn't working. And you couldn't sit there and have a conversation with them about it. You couldn't talk to them and be like, hey guys, I'm really enjoying these collaborations and everything, but I'm not sure if I feel like it's really working out or we're moving in the right direction. No, instead, he decided to go ahead and go about it the Wings of Redemption way and fuck over Woody, or basically shit talk Woody, I should say. And DSP basically took that up to the next step or the next level. And I think in the overall, I think DSP has, or his behavior has changed since he's gotten back. He's far more angrier. He's far more irritable. Whatever it was that happened that caused that hiatus, is going to have long-term ramifications that we have, that we're not sure of yet. But I believe it's going to happen. I think it's definitely a thing. And, we'll we'll tackle that. We'll tackle that as we get there. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys for the next one of these, whenever that may be. Hopefully sooner than later. I am a bit curious on how long really has it been since DSP and Keemstar have spoken? Because Keem's a liar, and so is DSP. So who's to actually say how long it's really been? On top of that, by the way, the majority, not everything, but the majority of stuff that DSP and Becky talked about, Keem knows, because Becky told him. Because Becky, Pedo behind the camera, and Keem, they're in a Discord together. They're in a few of them, actually. But they also have a private Discord with just the three of them, where they go over stuff and whatever. So for those of you who've been following Lebrowski or just following, Huggy or Oz or Oz Cobbs, those are, LOLCOW alert. If you've followed any of that, then you know what I'm talking about. So who knows what DSP told Becky, and who knows what happened in those DMs. Do I think it was anything romantically based? No, I don't think so. I think she tried to flirt with him to make him more comfortable, but it's not anything serious. It's all a matter of doing what she needs him to do to get what she needs to get done. That's neither here nor there. Anywho, I'll catch you guys for the next one of these, whenever that may be, hopefully sooner than later. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Snort Report. This has been DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes, a GTG Networking Productions for Harsh Snorts Gin and Tonic, for Tim Snortons, and as well as SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company, and any of our subsidiaries and affiliates. I've been your host / anchor GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, people. Take care of yourselves, people. And the hunt, or the mystery of the missing week in Goutopia continues. Yay! Later, people.